Local time in Baku, 5:45 tea time in the UK. And Chelsea, who've got such a proud record, of course, in this competition, two-time European Cup winners in 2012 under Roberto Di Matteo, in 2021 under Thomas Tuchel. They also reached the final in 2008 under Avram Grant. And even under Enzo Maresca, the ability to get through cup competitions, to reach finals and win them. Chelsea won the Conference League last season, who won the Club World Cup in the USA over the summer. And Enzo Maresca will all hope that it's building towards an impressive performance through this Champions League campaign. As we get underway, the midway point of the league phase. This is the fourth game of 8 for each club. Chelsea wearing a change strip this evening. White shirts, shorts and socks. They will play from right to left as we look down. Qarabağ, who are all in black. This stadium, which isn't the Olympic Stadium where in 2019 Chelsea won the Europa League final against Arsenal. This is the Tofik Baramov Republican Stadium, smaller venue but still a large capacity, over 30,000 people. It feels like a Champions League venue. Chelsea have possession in the midfield, twirling around in a circle, João Pedro. And much of the early stages here, you'd imagine, for Chelsea, just to try and take a little bit of sting out of the enthusiasm of the home crowd here and try to hold on to the ball and deny Qarabağ some possession. As on the left wing, Gittins is immediately closed down and the ball goes out of play for a throw. 0-0 between Qarabağ and Chelsea in the Champions League on 5 Live.
Yeah, you're right, Conor. I think the early parts of this game is keep good possession of the ball, preferably in Qarabağ's half. Yes, take opportunities to attack and make chances if they present themselves, but if not, let's just make sure we quiet this crowd. Let's not give any of the opposition an opportunity to get excited about anything. Let's try and keep a bit good possession of the ball in the opposition's half and start building into the game from there.
Chelsea, who had a 1-0 win at Spurs on Saturday evening. And listening to the commentary on 5 Live, the performance was even more dominant than that scoreline suggests. And after some wobbly moments, Enzo Maresca will hope that his team are getting into a groove now. This very young team, as Kelly was illustrating pre-kick-off. Sanchez the goalkeeper tonight. Reece James at right back as the captain. Tosin and Hato in the middle with Cucurella on the left-hand side. In midfield, Lavia and Andre Santos, with Estevao, João Pedro and Gittins in support of Tyreek George up top. Qarabağ have possession of the halfway line. Gold numbers and names on the back of their black shirts. Their goalkeeper is the Polish keeper Maciej Kokalski. It's a Brazilian right back, Mateus Silva, with an Azerbaijani experienced central defender, Behil Mustafazadeh, alongside the Colombian Kevin Medina. And then it's Evan Kafarjuliev at left back. He's another Azerbaijani international. In midfield, a Brazilian, Pedro Bicalho, alongside a Montenegrin, Marko Jankovic. Leandro Andrade's been in the goals, 4 goals in his last 6 European games. And then it's Kadi and Zubir, the captain, who are the 2 up front. 2.5 minutes played in Baku, and João Pedro over-enthusiastic, fouls Pedro Bicalho, and that's a free kick to Qarabağ. 0-0.
Yeah, João Pedro has played right up front for the majority of this season for Chelsea, but today he's going to play in behind Tyreek George in those pockets of spaces. I'm sure he'll love and enjoy playing in there. It's a different role that you're asked of, but should have no less chances at goal and opportunities if he plays the role right.
So 0-0. Rushed clearance by Robert Sanchez, the Spanish goalkeeper. This is his first season playing in the Champions League. He played in the first 2 games. Jorgensen started against Ajax last time. As Medina has possession at the back for Qarabağ. They work it over to the right back, Mateus Silva. His right-footed clearance is direct down the right wing. And looking for Andrade, who's beaten to the ball. However, it looked there like one of the Chelsea defenders was just running a little uncertain as he cleared the ball away. We'll keep our eye on that as Chelsea clear away down the right-hand side, and Estevao, who we know is quick, goes sprinting after it. Medina just gets there first. Big roar from the crowd in Baku, because anytime Estevao is near it, you're always going to be nervous as the defending team. A rush clearance, this time from Kokalski, and the ball goes out of play, and the referee is just going to hold up things to ensure that Romeo Lavia is okay. Now, this would be such a shame. Leon is a young player with such talent, but he keeps picking up injuries. There didn't seem to be an awful lot going on there as he got a touch of the ball, but then he immediately grimaced, holding his sort of upper thigh area. and that doesn't look good for Lavia so early in the match.
No, it doesn't, does it? And as you mentioned, he'll be so frustrated, given an opportunity tonight to come into the team and show what he can do, get more minutes under his belt. It's been a frustrating time injury-wise, and he's just reacting there, sat down on the pitch. He's just throwing his arms into the air in frustration. He's just holding the top of that right thigh, and it's just seeing the replay back. As soon as he sort of came out of the challenge and played the ball off, he pulled up immediately, and the look on his face was of a player who knew that was the end of his action early in this game.
He is so talented. They spent such a large amount of money on him. He's still so young, Romeo Lavia. He's only 21 years of age, but he finds it impossible to get a run in the team. He's yet to complete a full 90 minutes for Chelsea in any competition, and real concern as they've removed him from the pitch. And of course this early they won't have had a substitute prepared and ready to come on, but Chelsea would appear going to be forced into making that change. They'll play on with 10 men for the moment, as Estevao with some Brazilian tricks flicks it one side to the defender, tries to run around and then sends in a cross which is just too high for Tyreek George. Cucurella, who's up helping out the defence, is going to try and get there, but then it's cleared away at the back by Mateus Silva. Chelsea will regain possession back to the Dutchman Jarell Hato, who from the halfway line rolls it all the way back to Sanchez in goal.
Quality bit of play from Estevao on that right hand side, right in the corner. Took a throw in, brought it down, did a bit of trickery, dropped his shoulder. I think he ended up beating the defender about 3 times before he eventually floated the ball in swinging with that left foot. Fortunately for him and for Chelsea, just too much power on the cross, sailed right over the top of all 3 players Chelsea had attacking the centre of that penalty area, but really good promise of what he can potentially do up against the fullback.
6 minutes played, no shots in anger just yet. Moises Caicedo is getting prepared to come on. That's the one silver lining here for Chelsea. Of course they don't want to lose Lavia, but you can hardly think of a better substitute to be able to bring on than the shape of Caicedo. Here is Leandro Andrade. He's done well, putting pressure on the Chelsea defence. Gets a chance to tee up Caddy. A shot with his left foot, charged down. Too many defenders away. That was right on the edge of the penalty area. That's about as promising as we've seen from Qarabağ so far. But Chelsea survived the test, and they swing it out to the right-hand side to Estevao. 10 yards inside Qarabağ territory. Back to the halfway line. João Pedro puts his foot on it, digs his studs into the ball, and then Chelsea keen to hold on to possession, work it back towards the edge of their own penalty area once again.
Yeah, it does look like Caicedo will be coming off the substitute bench, and I think Enzo Maresca was hoping, considering the amount of work he's been through, considering the levels of his play recently, that he wouldn't be called upon maybe at all in this game, certainly not this early. Would like to have given him the break with the run of games that Chelsea are in and have coming up, but as you mentioned, what a player to be able to turn to in such a good bit of form.
Chelsea come with the attack down the left-hand side. Cucurella looks like he's just about onside, gets to the ball ahead of the byline, tries to swing in a cross which comes off the first defender, and that goes out for a corner to Chelsea on the left-hand side. 7 minutes played. Qarabağ 0, Chelsea 0. 5 Live and BBC Sounds. You can listen to our commentary tonight alongside the stats and the graphics with the Champions League final score. That's on the BBC red button. And don't forget, highlights from this this midweek's Champions League matches are available on BBC One this evening. Coverage starts at 10:40. Caicedo is on in place of Lavia, the Ecuadorian who scored in Chelsea's most recent Champions League game, the home win over Ajax. He also scored in the Premier League last month, and he scored against West Ham and Brentford in September. He's actually been in really good goal-scoring form, has Moises Caicedo, as the corner is swung in, and the goalkeeper Kahalski is only able to parry it down to the edge of the box, and there's a follow-up shot from Caicedo. His first touch of the ball is a shot at goal, but it rises over the crossbar and out for a goal kick. Qarabağ 0, Chelsea 0.
What an introduction that would have been. I mean, he's literally just joined the action, run from where the assistant, a fourth official, has let him on. He just run right into the D on the edge of the penalty area just to pick up that position. Cross comes in, goalkeeper not the best, palm out into that position, and he just tries to hit it on the sidewinder, just maybe because it's so early in the game, just couldn't quite keep it underneath the crossbar.
You want to have a few touches before you take it. It's like getting out of the car and walking onto the first tee in golf, and you're swinging the driver without having any warm-up.
For some of us, that's our best shot of the day. So I think Caicedo, I mean, he's in such a good bit of form in front of goal as well for a defensively minded midfielder. Maybe, he would have liked a few more touches of the ball maybe before that opportunity presented itself.
All right, 5 Live at BBC Sounds, the Champions League, live from Baku. Qarabağ 0, Chelsea 0. Manchester City in action against Dortmund later on at 8 o'clock. Newcastle against Athletic Bilbao. We'll keep you across it all here over the next few hours on BBC Radio 5 Live. As here on the attack down the left-hand side comes Zubair. Chance to look up, tried to play in the left-footed delivery cross, but Tosin is well positioned and he's able to clear the ball away. Not a very good clearance, mind you, and Qarabağ are going to remain on the attack here. Marko Jankovic passes it to the right-hand side to Mateus Silva. Bright yellow boots for him. Low ball into the feet of Kaidi. Tries to return it again, but Chelsea have got sufficient bodies back there, and then there's appeals for a foul and maybe even a handball, and the free kick is given Chelsea's way, and that relieves a bit of pressure there. 10 minutes in, still scoreless on 5 Live.
It could have been a bit of anything. The referee gave that one for high foot handball. Bit of a challenge on João Pedro as well, and Chelsea to be thankful for that, as they thought they were getting out. They played the ball forward to Eric George. He just gave it up far too easily, considering the praise I was speaking about before the game. He does have to hold the ball up better than that, especially in these games when you've just been under a bit of pressure and you need your striker just to keep the ball from home.
Qarabağ, who've never won a game against English opposition, this is their 8th attempt, but they've done well in this campaign, this league phase already, having beaten Benfica and beaten Copenhagen. Chance for Chelsea here as Jamie Gittins storms his way into the penalty area down the left-hand side. Tried to pull it back for João Pedro. Good tracking back of him by Jankovic, and possession will be taken away by the Montenegrin. Gittins for the first time getting a chance to accelerate into the penalty area, but he wasn't able to find a teammate there.
Yeah, big opportunity that, and he just chose the wrong option. He was running down the left-hand side. Centre-half was having to come out. Qarabağ were a bit stretched, only 3 people back defending it, recovering midfielder. Chelsea had 4 bodies getting forward, and rather than being positive, getting at the centre-back and sliding it across to any of those Chelsea players coming in, he tried to play a simple pass square to João Pedro, and Qarabağ couldn't believe their luck.
There is one other early kick-off in the Champions League. It's still scoreless between Paphos and Villarreal. Here is George, gets down to the byline, pulls it back for Andre Santos, whose shot is just wide. Big chance again for Chelsea. The Brazilian, who just tried to side-foot stab it, he didn't have the opportunity for a proper swing of his boot. He just had to prod the ball onward, and he nearly got it into the net, just wide for Chelsea.
Yeah, I think from the angle he was at, I think he had to hit that with his left foot. I think it was good attack from Chelsea, just what I was saying from what Gittins should have done moments before. Eric George gets the opportunity, gets on the outside of the Qarabağ defence, gets to the byline and just pulls it back in. Andre Santos is he's not quite past inside the goal frame, so as the ball comes to him, if you try and finish with your right foot there, it's such a difficult chance to try and make. Had to swing it with his left foot, but ended up missing the target.
Cucurella's given away a free kick. It's deep inside Qarabağ territory. Chelsea will retreat back, still 0-0. Commentary of Celtic and Rangers in the Europa League tomorrow on Sports Extra. Celtic away to Midtjylland. That's an early kick-off as well, 5:45. And coverage of Rangers against Roma starts at 7:45. You can listen to both of those games. And Aberdeen's trip to Larnaca in the Conference League. That's on Sports Extra 2 tomorrow. Tonight we're concentrating on the Champions League. And good work from Estevao to win possession inside the centre circle. He's got Tyreek George ahead of him. It's good play from Estevao, playing it out into space to try and run onto down the right wing. But an excellent recovery by Kevin Mededa, who's 32 years of age. He's nearly twice as old as young Estevao, but he was able to accelerate and keep up with him, and he'll be pleased how he's done in the one-on-one battles against the Brazilians so far.
Yeah, and he was twice as strong in that situation. Just as Estevao tried to put the burners on, he just put his arm out and got across him, and Estevao did brilliantly at first. Good bit of trickery, then good bit of strength to win the ball back. He just thought he could do a little bit too much in that moment, rather than just laying it off and going again.
Under pressure, Hato inside the penalty area. A few really poor touches as he was being wrestled, and both teams are screaming here that they should get a free kick in their favour. Qarabağ want a penalty. Tussle between 2 players inside the Chelsea penalty area, and the referee, having had time to have a look at it all, is sort of motionless. I think he's hoping for his assistants to try and help him out here. He's in discussion with the VAR. Hato, who's trying to stand his ground, trying to anchor himself into the turf, but he was under a lot of pressure, a lot of leaning into him, and he was doing his absolute best to try and hold on to possession.
Well, Hato has got very lucky here. I mean, Tosin goes up the pitch, so he goes across to cover in the right centre-back position, and it just didn't seem comfortable for him. And when the ball went over his head, he tried to play it back to the goalkeeper, completely mishit it. And Durant just seemed to get away from him, and actually Duran's done him a favour by staying on his feet. There was a real coming together. You didn't know which way it was going to go, who was going to come out on top. So often in those situations, a striker will go to ground and give the officials a decision to make, and he could have been in trouble there, Hato, but as it happens, the striker stayed on his feet and the referee didn't need to make a decision.
Qarabağ 0, Chelsea 0, approaching 10 p.m. local time in Baku, the capital of Azerbaijan. As Chelsea have possession, André Santos trying to play it out to his fellow Brazilian Estevão, intercepted though by Juliev, and the ball goes out of play for a throw into Chelsea right on the halfway line, right hand side of the field as they come forward. Chelsea playing right to left as we look down, wearing all white. Qarabağ all in black. Reece James with the captain's armband rolls it into space, and Jarell Hato, who is still a teenager himself, sends it out to Cucurella on the left-hand side. Immediately up to Gittins, who comes infield of the Brazilian right-back Mateus Silva. Gittins, nice touches, but two defenders crowd around him, and again, as he tries to break into the penalty area, it all breaks down for Chelsea, and Qarabağ regain possession once again. Cucurella quite forceful in on Kadi with the sliding tackle right in front of the referee, but the referee says it's fair. Play on as André Santos collects it here on the edge of the Qarabağ penalty area. Right-hand side as Chelsea come forward, gives it back to Reece James, gives it into a central location again. Chelsea are moving the ball around, and both teams are seeing a fairly even amount of possession in the early stages so far. Gittins, 5 yards outside the penalty area, trying to weave into perhaps a shooting position, gives a rather telegraphed pass out to Estevão that's immediately intercepted. Roar of the crowd as Zubir tries to launch a counter-attack down the left-hand side. Early ball played to Duran, he tries to control on the edge of the area. Good challenge right on the edge of the box from Jarell Hato, and Chelsea regain possession again. But Qarabağ, they look fast on the counter.
Yeah, they do. It looks like that's exactly what they're setting up for, and the moment Gittins came inside, should have been a bit more positive with his play. Got quite relaxed in his pass as he attempted to play it out to Estevão, and it was well cut out from Qarabağ, and from that moment, 2 passes and they were at the edge of Chelsea's penalty area. But on this occasion, Hato with some really good, well-timed defending to make sure they got no further.
Oh, that's nicely done. André Santos to the edge of the area, onto Estevão, onto his left boot, and he beats the goalkeeper at the near post. Chelsea take the lead after 16 minutes in Baku, and Estevão took that ever so calmly and cleanly. It's his 4th goal for Chelsea. The Brazilian teenager who has settled in so well in his new club. That was set up by André Santos, but he still had to cut back inside the defender, and it's a clever shot, Leon. He doesn't go for the far post, he beats the keeper at the near side, and it's Qarabağ 0, Chelsea 1.
Yeah, very good. I mean, for a moment there I thought the opportunity had gone. I thought they flooded on top of him, Qarabağ. As you mentioned, it was Santos who got into a really good position, played it out to Estevão, and I thought he played it a little bit behind him, didn't give him the chance to finish it first time before players got to him. Once he took a touch, 2 Qarabağ players went over to him. Juliev and I think it was Jankovic both got in his face and took a touch with his right foot, chopped with his left to get it even into a better position onto his left foot, and then, as you said, whipped it hard and low to the keeper's left, just inside that near post. He did it as he was slipping over himself, which makes it an even better finish. But this young man's got talent in those situations. The best thing about him is he generally gives you end product, and wasn't the easiest of chances that, and yet you've ended up with end product as a goal.
Chelsea, who scored early this night last week in the EFL Cup. André Santos put them in front against Wolves. Chelsea went on to win 4-3. And tonight in the Champions League, Chelsea score early. It's the 7th time in 4 games now that Chelsea have scored first-half goals in the Champions League, and only Bayern Munich, who got 2 goals in the first half last night against Paris Saint-Germain, have scored more in the opening 45 minutes of their Champions League games this season. Scoring early, which is always a good knack to have. Enzo Maresca will be very pleased with that. Now, can Chelsea build on it? As Qarabağ, interesting to see how they're going to respond to this. Cucurella goes in firmly again on Kadi. Play on, says the referee. Hato has got the wherewithal to take it down on his chest. Midway inside Chelsea territory. Not a good pass, though. He was looking for André Santos. Caicedo does what he does ever so well. Lunges in to win back possession. And there's going to be a free kick for a foul on André Santos. And Caicedo was quite forceful himself there, but the referee didn't give the free kick for that. He's given it for the challenge from the Qarabağ player. Qarabağ 0, Chelsea 1. 18 minutes played in Baku on 5 Live.
Yeah, good play centrally from Chelsea there. As you say, Qarabağ just tried to flood the middle of the pitch, and who's there? Caicedo with an aggressive challenge, yes, but a well-timed challenge nonetheless. And the ball ricocheted, and who's there? His midfield partner, André Santos, who, yes, probably buys a free kick, all in all, but he was there right on the toes of his partner to make sure they're working in tandem as a duo, and they're winning that battle in there at the moment. Chelsea relatively comfortable in and out of possession.
Andre Santos, one of the more unheralded Chelsea players, but very, very good. Played both games for Brazil in the September international break. He'll hope to be part of their World Cup squad. That's not a good clearance at the back, though, from Chelsea. And Zubir, he could break into the penalty area for Qarabağ. He goes to the byline. Reece James is there to track him. And to Zubir's astonishment, it's not going to be a corner. Must have been off James, back off Zubir, one of those, because the referee points towards the 6-yard box, and that is going to be a goal kick.
Yeah, well done, Reece James. I mean, you cannot be doing what Sanchez just did then. You're in good position, away from home, 1-0 up, and you're trying to play a precise pass through bodies of Qarabağ, trying to pick someone out with your weaker foot. If it's not on, just play it long, let's defend and let's get up the pitch. But got himself to a bad situation, but well sorted out from Reece James defensively.
Qarabağ 0, Chelsea 1. Estevao's goal, if you're just joining us on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. I was just speaking there about Andre Santos. Tonight, the first time he started a Champions League game for Chelsea. He began the game alongside Romeo Lavia in the midfield. Lavia's gone off injured early, so now it's Santos and Caicedo, and they look strong in tandem. 20 minutes exactly on the big stadium clock. 8 Premier League commentaries coming up for you this weekend across 5 Live, Sports Extra and BBC Sounds, including the big one, Manchester City against Liverpool. That is 4:30 on Sunday, but you can also listen to West Ham against Burnley on 5 Live on Saturday. That's 3 o'clock. Everton against Fulham is our pick for Sports Extra at 3, and the tea time game Sunderland against Arsenal is 5:30 on 5 Live. Chelsea come on the attack again, trying to spray it out to Estevao. This time Juliev is able to make the interception, but Estevao is hungry and he's been able to battle and hustle and gets possession, and João Pedro plays a little 1-2 on the edge of the box and just can't get on the receiving end of it from Tyreek George. Qarabağ can't clear it away. Estevao just outside the penalty area on the right hand side gives it back to Reece James. Chelsea, you can smell a bit of fear now from Qarabağ. They've got one, they'd love to add another in these early stages of the first half still. Gittins to the byline, left-hand side, swings it across. Andre Santos had already cocked his neck to head it, but it's swept away from him. Qarabağ can't clear. Caicedo now, midway inside the Azerbaijani side's half. Gives it to Jarel Hato, out to the near touchline to Gittins. The left as Chelsea come forward. Qarabağ exuding a lot of perspiration here, trying to keep up with Chelsea's flurry of passing as the Premier League side hold onto it well here in the midfield. Little pocket of space for Andre Santos. He's able to turn. He's got Estevao available out on the right hand side, just shy of the penalty area. Back into a slightly more central location for Reece James. He plays it early into the penalty area. Too early, too far in front of Gittins, and that goes out for a goal kick to Qarabağ. But a good spell there from Enzo Maresca's team, and midway through the first half it's Qarabağ 0, Chelsea 1.
Yeah, it was an ambitious pass at the very end of that from Reece James. Tried a cross-field diagonal play to try and play in Gittins inside the penalty area. But you're right, before that was a brilliant passage of play from everybody at Chelsea. Gittins getting at his full-back and getting beyond him, putting crosses in. Estevao winning the ball back up against the big centre-half. João Pedro trying to play a 1-2 with Tyreek George. Didn't quite work out. But the midfielders, when Chelsea lost the ball, just kept on winning the ball back very, very quickly. And that was terrific. A terrific spell for Chelsea, and I'm sure Enzo Maresca will be asking just to how often can we maintain those moments, and how more chances can we make at the end of them.
Qarabağ 0, Chelsea 1. The goal from Estevao on what is just his second start in the Champions League, and actually the Brazilian has become the 3rd youngest player in Champions League history now to score in each of his first 2 starts in the competition. Ethan Nwaneri did it for Arsenal. Kylian Mbappe is the only other player younger. As Qarabağ come on the attack down the left-hand side. Abdellah Zubir held up by Reece James. Clever ball though, and then it comes across the edge of the 6-yard box, and Cucurella well positioned. Sanchez was stuck in no man's land there really as the ball flashed in front of him, and Cucurella running back towards his old goal mouth was able to clear the ball away. That's about as dangerous as Qarabağ have been in this opening 23 minutes so far. Chelsea still lead 1-0.
Yeah, it was. They just caught Chelsea flat with that through ball, and as they went down that left-hand side inside the fullback, as you're flashing it across the face of the penalty area, you're expecting that KD could have just tapped that in at the far post, but Cucurella did his job, got back into the position, made sure as that ball beat his centre-back, beat his goalkeeper, he was in a position to make sure he cleared that. And not only in the position, his body position was correct. That meant as that came across, his right foot was an easy clearance from him with that right foot, rather than back to goal, defender breathe him down his neck, and and only facing his own goal. So excellent defending.
Yeah, the Premier League on Saturday, Chelsea throughout the entire game they limited Spurs to just 3 shots in that match. They've kept it pretty tight so far tonight. This was the first time that there was a clear opportunity for a shot at goal, and he was quite unselfish trying to play in the cross across the edge of the 6-yard box, but with Andrade waiting to tap it in, Cucurella was able to clear the ball away as Chelsea survive. Qarabağ 0, Chelsea 1. Robert Sanchez wearing all green tonight. Gives it short to Gerald Hato, the summer signing from Ajax. His pass into the midfield for Chelsea is touched by João Pedro, and then Caicedo will ping it over to the right-hand side, controlled on his right instep by Reece James. This is 20-25 yards inside Chelsea possession. Chelsea playing right to left as we look down this tea-time kickoff in the Champions League tonight. Match day 4 of the competition through the league phase. There's a good interception by Mateus Silva, will regain the ball for Qarabağ, but they're still inside their own half. Jankovic tries to play it forward. Was that a foul by Caicedo? It was. Free kick inside the centre circle for Qarabağ.
Yeah, he was right there, the referee. Caicedo, as you'd expect, just hunting, hungry, trying to win the ball back. When you do it in the manner that he does, you're not going to time every single one correctly. This one he just about missed, but at the same time, it's not the worst free kick to give away in the centre of the pitch.
So maybe an opportunity here. George picks a good pass to Gittins, attacking towards the edge of the penalty area, left-hand side, slows down, then he accelerates, left foot cut back, looking for Tyreek George, who took a tumble on the edge of the 6-yard box, but I think he was initiating the contacts. That's how it looked in real time. We'll have another look on the replay of that in just a moment. There isn't a huge penalty appeal from Tyreek George. Gittins there, I wondered, Leon, could he have surged on himself initially? He sort of likes to slow down and then accelerate again. Sometimes you wish he would just drive on the first occasion.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one. If you're his teammate and if you're in at the far post, you don't want him slowing the game down. You want him to get that ball, beat his man quickly, flash that ball across, because Chelsea had 2 players, I think it was João Pedro and Estevão, both at the back post, if he'd have done that. But you're right, he does like to slow defenders down, and then with that step over and burst of acceleration, create his own movement. So that's brilliant to make your own chances in a 1v1 situation. And once he dropped the shoulder and done that, he had to take the shot on himself. He'd created that moment and that opportunity himself. Once he'd done that, despite being probably 12 yards out on the angle, he then tried to flash it across the penalty area, by which time those defenders had recovered to mark João Pedro and mark Estevão. So yeah, I think that's a bit of quality shown, I think, but also a little bit of learning to be done in when to execute the shot and when to execute the cross after a bit of quality step over play.
That's the voice of Leon Osman watching this game with us 5 Live on BBC Sounds. Chelsea in Baku tonight. Qarabağ 0, Chelsea 1. Estevão's early goal, nice smart finish from a player who, you know, I think he's been great to watch regardless of what team you support individually. He's just one of those guys, he plays with a smile on his face. He's got that fearlessness of youth, and he has taken to the Premier League and indeed now the Champions League so smoothly.
Yeah, he's great to watch. I mean, the way he moves with the ball, the speed of feet, the touch with that left foot, whether it's the inside, the outside, the change in directions with and without the ball. But also I like his hunger. I like the way he's trying to win the ball back. On 2 occasions now, he's happily gone toe-to-toe with the big centre-back Medina, he's barged off the ball on more than 1 occasion just by being prepared to get your body weight underneath the hips and using his strength in the right way. He's got all-round quality.
A break in play here because Katie's been down receiving treatment, challenged by Marc Cucurella, and it looks like the Qarabağ coach Gurban Gurbanov is going to be forced into a change of his own here after Chelsea had to replace Romeo Lavia earlier on. Gurbanov, by the way, who he doesn't actually look that old, but he's been in charge for 17 years. 17 trophies in that time, but first appointed in 2008, Gurban Gurbanov. Very much an institution on the journey that Qarabağ have been on. They've started this league phase well. However, this evening at home in Baku, they trail Chelsea by Estevão's goal to 0 so far. Last season, Qarabağ won their 4th consecutive league title in Azerbaijan. And they've been preparing a substitute. It looks like Katie might want to continue here. He certainly might try at least. For the moment, Qarabağ are temporarily playing with 10 men. This is a really good play. Duran, he's in! Left-footed shot off the post! And then the follow-up! He's into the back of the net, and that is the equaliser! And it's Leandro Andrade! It's his 6th goal of the season! And what about this for an atmosphere in Baku? As the little torchlights come out of the camera phones of all the spectators in the stadium, and Qarabağ, who continue to pull out surprises in the Champions League. Ask Benfica this season, ask Copenhagen, and now ask Chelsea, because Estevao's lead is gone, and Leandro Andrade has made it Qarabağ 1, Chelsea 1, and all this has happened, Leon Osman, when Qarabağ had only 10 men on the field.
Yeah, maybe that's why Chelsea just lost concentration. I mean, this is very good from Qarabağ's point of view, especially Duran, in which he drives, wins the ball back from Hato, drops his shoulder, gets the opportunity, step over, gets onto his left foot, cutting inside Tosin, and whips that back to the near post, and it beats Sanchez. All ends up, and he's thankful to see it come back off the post, but it fell brilliantly into the path of Andrade, as you'd expect a man with his goal-scoring record. And once it comes back to him on the volley, whipping it while it was in the air with the laces inside of his foot into the far corner. Terrific finish from him, but Chelsea have got themselves to blame. Gerald Hato in particular, he had a warning probably about 10 minutes ago with Duran screaming down his neck, and just took too long, and he was very fortunate to get away with it on that occasion. The exact same thing happened this time, but this time Duran did take the ball off him, hit the post, and Qarabağ ended up scoring, but poor defending from Hato.
Yeah, we said right at the start of the programme how, you know, whenever it was 8 years ago that Chelsea last came to Baku outside of playing in a final, and they won by 4-0. It's a very different Qarabağ now. They have got a spine, they have got plenty of fight in them, and now they've got themselves an equaliser here too. The enforced change has been made. D'Emmanuel Adi has come on, the Ghanaian forward, and he's replaced Katie, the Brazilian. Katie, who was making his 50th appearance in UEFA competitions, not able to continue after that challenge involving Marc Cucurella. Qarabağ 1, Chelsea 1. Andrade and Estevao with the goals for Andrade. That's his 50th goal for Qarabağ in all competitions. He scored after 48 seconds against Bilbao last time in this league phase. That's the fastest goal of the Champions League this season. He also scored against Benfica 2 in September. I mean, he took it well, because the initial shot came back off the post, and he's sprinting onto it, and he hits it flush. It was a really good instinctive finish from him. Chelsea have got an issue here, but we're going to have another injury delay, because Jamie Gittins has gone down. He was on the receiving end of a challenge from Pedro Bicalio.
Yeah, it wasn't really a challenge. Bicalio had the ball, just stepped on it with one foot, and then did that, you know, drag back with the other, and somewhere in there just stood on the foot of a Gittins, but he seems to have felt it more than you'd expect. He stayed down. But yeah, I mean, from Qarabağ's point of view, that was a terrific goal. They've hunted the ball down, they've won it back. There's been a good bit of skill, unfortunate coming back off the post. Wonderful reaction finish to make sure the ball hit the back of the goal. But Chelsea were in a nice moment. They'd scored the goal, everything had calmed down, they were keeping possession of the ball. Qarabağ weren't really looking that dangerous, but it's just a bit of sloppy play, lack of concentration from young Hato, and suddenly now the crowd are right up. This Qarabağ team are all excited again, and Chelsea have got to go again.
Gittins attacking down the left-hand side, but once again he's not able to get away from Leandro Andrade, the Qarabağ goal scorer who works hard in defence too. Gittins able to regain possession just outside the penalty area that Chelsea are attacking. 1-1-5 live in BBC Sounds. Estevao full of trickery on the right wing. Oh, that's brilliant. Into the penalty area he goes, sliding across Jankovic, and they're all appealing. Chelsea want a corner. Jankovic says goal kick, and I think the referee is agreeing with Qarabağ, and that's going to be a goal kick for them. But this will be slightly concerning for Enzo Maresca. 10 days ago, was it? 10-11 days ago, Chelsea went 1-0 up at home to Sunderland. They've gone 1-0 up tonight. That game they ended up losing 2-1. Even last week in the EFL Cup, Chelsea went 3-0 up against Wolves. Wolves got it back to 3-3 before Chelsea eventually did go on to win the game. But there's a bit of a pattern emerging of Chelsea taking leads but not able to hold on to them. And I was looking earlier on, they've lost 8 points this season already from winning positions in the Premier League.
Yeah, and I'm sure that'll be a message at half-time from Enzo Maresca, if he can get them in at 1-1, that, you know, the importance of getting back in front, taking the lead again, but the importance of keeping it and how you go about keeping it. And First of all, that comes from not making mistakes, not getting dragged out of position, not doing anything silly to award and gift the opposition opportunities to really hurt you. And you know, Chelsea have had to work hard for what they've created this evening. I'm not sure Qarabağ have had to work hard for that goal.
If you're just joining our coverage, Estevao put Chelsea in front after 16 minutes. Chelsea held that lead for 13 minutes until Leandro Andrade's equaliser. 1-1 at the moment. Very buoyant atmosphere inside the Tufik Baramov Republican Stadium in Baku. Chelsea are a long way from home here. It's around a 6,000 kilometre round journey from London as João Pedro picks up possession in the midfield, trying to find a bit of space, but Qarabağ are working really hard off the ball and they're not allowing any sorts of pockets for Chelsea players to operate in. And once again, João Pedro here forced backwards, snapping into him, Leandro Andrade, and that was too forceful. He's given away a free kick, but it just illustrates how Chelsea players don't have any room to breathe in this game. 1-1 for now.
Yeah, I think 10 minutes ago, I think Chelsea, with being a goal up and, you know, making passes for the sake of it and keeping the ball off Qarabağ, I don't think the intensity was there at Qarabağ. I think we just lost them momentarily, but now after that goal they seem to be back.
Here's Gittins into the penalty area, left-footed shot into the side netting. He took it a little bit too wide, tried to shift it onto his left boot, but then he was stretching for it and couldn't quite wrap his foot around it to get that shot back on target. But João Pedro involved in setting that up, and Chelsea will be pleased at least that they're creating opportunities inside the Qarabağ penalty area once again. 10 minutes of regular time to go until the break in Baku. Qarabağ 1, Chelsea 1 for now.
Yeah, both of Chelsea's attacking wide men have been a threat. Estevao in particular has got the goal and looks like he's got the beatment of his defender every time he gets the ball. But so has Gittins. Gittins looked really good tonight. He's looked a real threat. His issue has just been his final decision of whether to take a shot and whether to cross it, whether to go at defenders when there's 3 of them on him, or whether to make a pass. But on occasion he looks like he's a real talent.
Including the qualifying games, Qarabağ have now scored 11 goals in their European home matches this season, and they've been tied at the back too. 6 clean sheets in the last 8 games in all competitions. Chelsea pleased to have scored that early goal from Estevao, but it's becoming an interesting watch this to see which way the pendulum is going to swing next. The Qarabağ supporters all very orchestrated, coordinated. There's a guy with a little podium that he stands like the conductor, and he's instructing them on which songs to sing, which tempo to clap in. There's a fellow with a drum as well, banging away the beat and the rhythm. And Qarabağ are playing with a bit of confidence now. That's good from Qarabağ over the halfway line after dropping a shoulder to get around Reece James, who's now battling to get back into position. Qarabağ has continued his run into the penalty area, and he shoots over the crossbar. Well, that would have been sensational. That was Mickey van der Ven stuff. He picked that up in his own penalty area, albeit he played a pass to someone else on the way through. What a surging run from Qarabağ, and Chelsea relieved that he puts it over the top.
Yeah, they are. Chelsea were scrambling, and again getting in behind Jarrell Hatto as he came across to cover Tosin. Chelsea just got a little bit stretched there. Reece James went far too high initially, which gave Qarabağ the space down that side for him to be bursting into it. It was a great run from him, lovely way to pass back into him, and it deserved a better finish at the end.
No goals in tonight's other early kick-off in the Champions League in Cyprus. Oh, now was that a handball by Hatto? The referee has pointed to the spot. Jarrell Hatto on the edge of the penalty area has blocked a cross. Now were his arms down by his side? It's certainly not dramatically outstretched on first view, but was he making the shape of his body bigger? The referee tonight, Sebastian Gisheimer from Austria, it's the first time he's ever been involved in a game in the Champions League. He had no hesitation in pointing to the spot, and frankly, Liam, I'm surprised Hatto's not making more complaints of this. He's sort of disappointed. We're getting to see the replay. He's pulling his hand in, but it is outstretched as the ball connects with it.
Yeah, I think we've seen it quite often in the Premier League. Probably not getting given, but in European competition it certainly is getting given. That ball hits his hand. Yes, it's only probably 4 or 5 yards away, but his arm is up, his hand is away from his body. It's his left hand, and he's given a penalty kick away, and he's just compounded the first mistake he made actually within this. I'm not even talking about the first goal. Sanchez threw him the ball, he's in possession of it just inside his own penalty, and he got caught on the ball, gave it away, and then the reacting from that ends up hitting his hand, and he's given the penalty away.
There's no hanging around. Jankovic has placed the ball already. We'll discuss the mechanics of that handball in just a moment. Let's see the outcome here. Chelsea, who conceded a penalty in their last Champions League game against Ajax, are they going to go behind here in Baku? It's Marko Jankovic, and he sends Robert Sanchez the wrong way. That is a lovely penalty into the bottom left-hand corner, and from 1-0 down, Qarabağ have turned it around. 7 minutes short of half-time. It's Qarabağ 2, Chelsea 1, and the Qarabağ fans are loving this.
Yeah, absolutely they are. This is the game they came to see, a game that puts Chelsea on the back foot, a game that they score and play as well as they have done in the last 10 minutes, because they've certainly been on top of this Chelsea team. It all came from that first mistake from Hato, and he's, unfortunately for him, he's backed it up with a second and a third, all three contributing to Qarabağ getting both of their goals. I mean, it's a brilliant pen. We're just seeing that again. Jankovic, left-footed, running up to it, opens his body up, passes it to the goalkeeper's right in the corner. I'm not sure if Sanchez had have gone the right way, he would have saved it. As it happened, he dived to his left and got nowhere near it. So brilliant execution of a penalty kick, exactly what Qarabağ want, but Chelsea again just got themselves to blame.
Jankovic took the spot kick really well. It's his third European goal of the campaign. He got 2 in the qualifiers in the summer, including one in the playoff win against Ferencvaros in August. Marko Jankovic has, for now, completed this turnaround for Qarabağ from trailing in the game to now leading, and we've still got 5 minutes remaining in the first half in Baku. Just going back to the handball, you know, we speak about outstretched arms and making the frame of your body bigger. The best way, I think, to paint the picture for listeners at home is his elbows are tucked in. It's from elbow to fingertips. That's the part that's stretched out. So it's not like he's massively making his body bigger, but on that freeze frame, as the ball hits it, that's the position it's in. And as you say, in the Champions League, that's always going to be given as a penalty kick.
Yeah, it is. I think there's been quite consistent over that, the officials in the Champions League. Having said that, we saw one overruled at Anfield last night, didn't we, from Tchouaméni when it hits him. This one was nothing like that. There's no potential ricochet off your thigh onto an arm. It just hits his arm, which is up around his shoulder height. It's away from his body. The ball was going to be whipped into a dangerous area. There were players attempted to get on the end of that cross had it gone in, and it was just again a response to if you lose the ball inside your own penalty area, you're going to get your team in trouble. And you know, he's done that for the second occasion, unfortunately, and ended up giving that penalty kick away.
I think we're going to hear a bit more about this. You know, it's one of those grey areas when you say a natural position. You know, what exactly is a natural position? You know, to be sprinting along with your arms dead down by your side, that would not be natural. And I wonder in the Premier League, would that have been, you know, excused as a mitigating circumstance, that it was a natural running motion of his arms as he's moving, because he's not stretching out, he's not trying to block it with his arm. But Gerald had to. It was funny, as soon as it happened, my eye was drawn to his facial expression. He was disappointed, he was gutted, he wasn't complaining, he knew what was coming.
Yeah, he knew. You know, I think in the Premier League we are quite forgiving in those situations. If the ball ricochets and hits players' arms, I don't think many of us really expect, even though we'll cheer for our own teams, I'm not sure we expect those ones really to be given. But this was a bit more of a grey area, this was a bit more borderline, and in the Premier League, in the Champions League and European competition, 99% of the time these will get given.
This has become a very interesting spectacle now. Champions League final score of the BBC Red Button. If you wanted to watch alongside the stats and the graphics while you listen to our commentary, we're live on 5 Live and BBC Sounds tonight. We've got more Champions League live football commentary to come. Manchester City against Borussia Dortmund at the Etihad tonight. John Murray will be bringing you the commentary of that alongside former City player Michael Brown. But Chelsea, who got off to such a good start in Baku, now find themselves 2-1 down with 3 minutes remaining of normal time in the first half. And Chelsea, who've already lost Romeo Lavia to injury, albeit Moses Caicedo coming on has probably only strengthened their cause in that regard. Here's João Pedro playing deep in midfield, launching it down the left wing for Jamie Gittins to canter after. Gets it level with the edge of the penalty area, but being very closely marked by Mateus Silva, and the ball goes out of play for a throw into Chelsea down that left-hand side. Qarabağ 2, Chelsea 1. Cucurella with the huge mop of hair takes the throw in. Back towards the edge of the penalty area to Caicedo. Rolls it to Reece James, 15 yards outside the box. Now on to Estevao on the right wing. If you're just joining our coverage, Estevao gave Chelsea the lead after 16 minutes tonight. Jarrell Hato, who gave away the penalty, rolls it to Gittins on the left-hand side. Gittins, who goes into this almost standstill motion again, draws the defender in towards him and then rolls it back towards Hato again. And it's good pressure from Qarabağ, and it forces Chelsea all the way back to Tosin inside the centre circle. He'll try his luck down the right-hand side. Played through Reece James out to Estevao. Estevao up against Juliev. Good ball in towards the edge of the penalty area. João Pedro tried to bring it with him. Good challenge from Marko Jankovic, the Montenegrin who scored the penalty down the other end, and he clears it down the field and in front of Camilo Duran, the Colombian, who's now running up against Tosin, just glancing up to see who's with him, waiting for the cavalry to arrive. He floats it into the penalty area, too far in front of Emmanuel Adai, and that, from a Chelsea point of view, goes out to the safety of a goal kick. Qarabağ 2, Chelsea 1, almost half-time in Baku.
Yeah, almost half-time, and we're still in the first half. Chelsea are just finding themselves getting a bit stretched. There's not quite panic as such, but overexposing themselves at this stage of the game, trying to get that equaliser, trying to get bodies forward. Still in the first half, there's an awful lot of football left to play. They don't need to leave themselves exposed on the counter-attack while this game is still in its first half. Qarabağ looking a lot more dangerous. Duran in particular has had a really strong first half.
First yellow card of the game. Andre Santos has been booked. This was for a late challenge. We mentioned in the build-up there, Marko Jankovic did well to start the counter-attack there. As he cleared the ball away, he was caught late by Andre Santos right in front of the Austrian referee, who said play on, because he knew Qarabağ had a chance of counter-attacking there. But once the ball went dead, good refereeing, he came back and he showed what is a deserved yellow card to Andre Santos. Santos, who provided the assist for the Estevao goal that Chelsea took the lead from. But then Leandro Andrade made it 1-1 just before the half-hour mark, and then the penalty from Marko Jankovic has given Qarabağ the lead. And Chelsea with work to do here with half-time approaching. Mateus Silva prepares to take a throw in right-hand side for Qarabağ, sends it down the right wing, just misses Duran. Moises Caicedo gets it under his control. He's so good at anchoring himself into the turf and using his body to shield from opponents who want to steal the ball away. Chelsea hold on to it. Hato back to Tosin, into stoppages ahead of half-time. 3 minutes additionally to be added on.
Yeah, I think Enzo Maresca won't be too disappointed if they get to half-time a goal behind here.
Here's Tyreek George, just outside the penalty area. Gittins was calling for it. George tries to take on the shot himself, and it's blocked by Mustafazadze. Good block from the Azerbaijani international. Kept his eye on the ball. Tyreek George got plenty power behind it, but blocked immediately by the burly defender in his way. And Chelsea regained possession, but they're back deep inside their own half, back inside the final third once again. Chelsea, who have won 6 of their last 7 games. The one defeat was that home defeat to Sunderland 2 games ago when they did take the lead, but ended up losing. Tonight they have taken the lead in Azerbaijan, but trailed 2-1 for the moment. Tyreek George inside the centre circle. Gives it to Moises Caicedo. He's got Hato available on the left-hand side of the Chelsea defence. Clever ball through the lines in the midfield to João Pedro, who's been allowed to turn, and he plays a clever pass in front of Cucurella to the byline on the left-hand side. Early back to Gittins. Chance for the right-footed shot. Came in, not much power on it, and it's blocked away by Mateus Silva. And in stoppage time ahead of the break, Chelsea are going to get a corner. Yeah,
João Pedro's finally becoming a big influence in the half. He's dropped deeper than probably ever seen him play for Chelsea, right in between Caicedo and Andre Santos. He's starting to pick the ball up. Not only that, he's getting turned on it, he's looking forward, he's breaking the lines. And it was actually Cucurella he played the ball into inside, just down the left of the Qarabağ penalty area, and they've ended up with a corner kick.
Reece James to take it. Chelsea all in white tonight. He lofts it in high, too close to the goalkeeper, who punches away under pressure. Ball still in play for Andre Santos on the far side, and he allows it to trickle over the sideline, knowing the ball was going out for a throw-in to Chelsea. So they will remain in the attack. We've played 2 of the 3 minutes that have been allocated. Andre Santos, who's the only player who's been booked in the first half. Estevao, the 18-year-old, continuing a good run of scoring for him now. This is 4 goals in his last 7 appearances for Estevao. He's really warming up as a Chelsea player. Jarrell Hato has possession of the back for Chelsea. Qarabağ, realising these are the closing seconds of the first half now, are not pressing up too high. They're happy to just defend the 15 yards or so in front of their own penalty areas. Chelsea trying to come forward. Caicedo's given the ball away. We don't say that very often. And Jankovic here will try to launch a counter-attack, plays it towards Adai. He's well challenged. Andre Santos regains possession inside the centre circle. 20 seconds of the 3 minutes remaining ahead of half-time. It's given to Estevao on the right wing. He cuts in field to the defender again. Plays it back behind to João Pedro, still playing very deep. Caicedo to the near touchline to Jamie Gittins. Tries to take on Mateus Silva, shows too much of it, and then that's going to be a free kick. And surely the half-time whistle is now only moments away. Qarabağ 2, Chelsea 1 and 5 live. There is the whistle for half-time. Well, I'll tell you what, those 45 minutes absolutely flew by. Estevao giving Chelsea a very positive start, but then you've got to credit how Qarabağ dealt with it all. They were down to 10 men due to an injury when Andrade made it 1-1, and then after a penalty was conceded, a handball by Jorel Hato, it was so calmly dispatched by Marko Jankovic. Qarabağ looked the real deal, and they lead Chelsea at half-time, Leon Osman.
Yeah, they do, and they've earned their way into the lead. Chelsea started really well. They got in control of the game, exactly where they'd need to be, and calm the game down. Everything seemed to be going right for Chelsea, but two huge mistakes from Jorel Hato has really cost his team, and somehow they find themselves behind, not where they'd expect to be, under pressure going into the half. So I think Enzo Maresca will be pleased now to have got them in 2-1 behind, but they've showed that they have the quality to unlock this Qarabağ defence if they play properly, if they play professionally, they don't make silly mistakes at the back, they could potentially go on and still win this game.
Well, Qarabağ have made a lot of friends lately. They have impressed a lot of people with their performances, and having beaten Benfica and beaten Copenhagen in the Champions League already, they now lead Chelsea at half-time. It's Qarabağ 2, Chelsea 1.
Connor, thank you very much. Leon, it's hard not to point the finger at Hato in this first half from a Chelsea point of view. Not just conceding the penalty, but there was also a foul. It could have given away a penalty earlier in the half as well.
Yeah, that was the warning sign, wasn't it? That, I thought maybe once he'd gotten away with that one, it was a sloppy pass that Duran could potentially have gone down. He could have given a penalty kick away at that point. Quite often you say then, well, that's the warning, that's the shocker that I got away with. So I won't get myself in that kind of trouble again. I won't get myself in those situations. If someone's closing me down, I'll play 1 and 2 touch. I won't allow anybody to get tight with me. But the two occasions that followed, he loses the ball for the first goal under pressure. That Duran goes on, hits the post, good finish from Andrade. But then on the second occasion, gets caught just inside or on the edge of his own penalty area, in comfortable possession of the ball, just played from the goalkeeper, just taking too long, letting people get close to you and able to make tackles, and then unfortunately from his point of view, compounded by it hitting his hand for to make it the penalty kick. So yeah, he needs to start just playing the percentages, not getting himself into situations. We talked, Kelly, didn't we, before the game about youth and how you handle these situations, and 1 or 2 Chelsea players have handled it brilliantly. 1 or 2 haven't quite managed it to be up to that standard.
The other thing that's going to be concerning Chelsea fans at the moment is Romeo Lavia, who came off. Moses Caicedo came on. Now, obviously, that's not a substitution that's going to concern them too much. It's more the fact that Lavia's injured again. He hasn't played 90 minutes for Chelsea in any competition yet.
No, frustrating for him, frustrating for the management team, his teammates, and for the fan base, because there's no doubt that there's a player in there if they can just get him on the field, and Moises Caicedo needs somebody to take the weight off him, to somebody that will take some of the workload. He thought that would be tonight, giving an opportunity for Lavia to get as many minutes as possible, to come in and show what he's capable of, play the performance that Chelsea fans are aware he's capable of. But unfortunately it's not worked out. It is a concern for Chelsea's squad strength and what they've actually got, because you can't keep asking Moises Caicedo to play every minute of every single game that Chelsea are hoping they're going to be in, without him maybe picking up an injury. And at the moment, if he picks up an injury, then that would be a disaster.
Leon, for now, thank you very much. We'll be back with you for the second half of that game. Leon Osman and Conor McNamara will bring us the second half of Qarabağ against Chelsea, with Qarabağ 2-1 up against the Premier League side. Chelsea have also condemned alleged racist abuse during their Youth League match in Baku earlier today. The visiting players were confronted by fans after Sol Gordon opened the scoring for Chelsea in the second half. Eyewitnesses have told BBC Sport that they saw and heard monkey gestures, and the match was stopped temporarily while players complained to the referee. In a Chelsea statement, they said they raised the incident immediately with the UEFA match delegate and home club and expect this matter to be investigated fully. A Qarabağ spokesman says the incident doesn't represent the values of the club. There's more on that story on the BBC Sport website. We'll look ahead to our second Champions League commentary of the evening, Manchester City against Dortmund, very shortly. That's after the BBC News with Richard Foster.
The voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Thanks, Kelly. Good evening. Another prisoner has been released from Wandsworth Jail in South London by mistake. William Smith, who's 35, was serving time for fraud. Police are trying to find him and Brahim Khador Sharif, an Algerian, who had appeared in court on sex offences. The Shadow Home Secretary is Chris Philp.
The Labour government has been in office now for nearly a year and a half. They are responsible for running our prison system. They have presided over this mistaken release of an Algerian man with previous sex offence convictions. They presided over the mistaken release of Hadish Kabatu, the Ethiopian child sex attacker.
The father of the Southport killer, Axel Rudakabana, has told the public inquiry into the stabbings that his son was violent and had threatened to kill him. Alphonse Rudakabana also feared his son would be taken away if he reported him. Police say that a dog that killed a 9-month-old baby in Monmouthshire on Sunday was an XL bully registered with the government. No arrests have been made. Joey Barton's told a court he never meant to suggest that Jeremy Vine was a paedophile. The former footballer is accused of sending offensive messages with intent to cause distress or anxiety. Several charges relate to posts he made about the Radio 2 presenter, who says he felt devastated by them. A woman from East Yorkshire has spoken about coming face-to-face with the knife attacker on a train between Doncaster and London at the weekend. Dana Arnold from Bridlington was lying on the carriage floor. She was spared after pleading with him. And hundreds of mourners have been to the funeral of Dame Patricia Routledge, who starred as Hyacinth Bouquet in Keeping Up Appearances. The service took place at Chichester Cathedral in West Sussex. That's the news. Orna's got the travel.
Thanks, Richard. The M74, so in South Lanarkshire, Junction 2 at Rutherglen, all open now after the accident, but queues are still there on the southbound side. The M62 at the Liverpool end is closed westbound at Huyton at Junction 5, an accident which happened there as well. M60 anti-clockwise at 19 Heaton Park, 3 hours roundabout. 2 lanes are closed to clear a breakdown off the road. The queue's about to 21 at Hollingwood. The M60 and clockwise queues at 24 for Denton Island, still there as well. It's been busy. 1 lane down on the exit slip. And heading out of Birmingham, the A38M, the Aston Expressway, 2 lanes are closed for a broken down car at Park Circus. And then just approaching the M6 at Junction 6, which is Spaghetti Junction, there's another breakdown. So 1 lane closed again on the A38M heading north. The M5, Bristol queues, Junction 15 at the M4 at Almondsbury, an obstruction on the road there heading towards Thornbury, long delays. And the A20 is still closed eastbound at Sidcup towards the M25 at 3, the Swanley interchange. Orna Merchant, 5 Live Travel.
On BBC iPlayer.
I feel sick with excitement.
Players, welcome to paradise.
I've definitely got pre-game nerves.
An epic race from Mexico to Colombia with Roman Kemp.
So it's been a massive twist.
Tyler West and Molly Rainford.
It has been a rough 24 hours.
Dylan Llewellyn.
This feels like a fever dream.
And Anita Rani.
Dad, what is that?
Challenge accepted.
Let's go! Quick!
Celebrity Race Across the World starts tomorrow night on BBC iPlayer. This is 5 Live Sports, the Champions League with Kelly Cates.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
The second half of our first Champions League commentary of the evening is on its way very shortly. Qarabağ lead Chelsea by 2-1 at half-time. And more Champions League commentary is on the way tonight from the Etihad. Manchester City face Borussia Dortmund. So good evening to John Murray and former Manchester City midfielder Michael Brown. Michael,
good evening, Kelly.
Evening.
Good evening, John. Good evening, Michael. John, let's start with you then, with Erling Haaland. 2.5 seasons in Dortmund. Back there with Manchester City, on fire in the Premier League at the moment, so this could be a fun return for him.
I almost don't know where to start with Erling Haaland. because of the sheer weight of numbers that he's got behind him already this season. So whether it's 26 goals in 16 appearances for club and country this season, whether it's the fact that he scored in all of the Champions League matches and actually 6 in his last 4 in the Champions League. In fact, I'll stop it there because I could just go on. I could go on and on until they kick off.
Of it, I've seen how many he's got, Kelly. There's loads of them.
I mean, it is staggering, and I know that he's got to keep up with the likes of Kane and Mbappe this season, who have got also very impressive figures. But he's certainly doing it.
That's the thing, it's got to the stage now with Haaland where even saying we've run out of superlatives is starting to sound like a cliche for Haaland, because there isn't much more to add to how fantastic he's been, and the numbers are definitely the way to do it, John. You know, the other thing from City's point of view, Michael, which I think has been quite interesting, is that they had this day of rest on Tuesday. Now, this isn't usual, the day before a game. What do you think the plan is for them?
Do you know, there's one thing that Pep Guardiola changed when he first came to Manchester City. It was very much we train every day, and then he realised that the players need a different sort of way about it. He was never afraid to give them 2 days off, 3 days off when needed. When he felt and looked at the players, it was the right decision, and I think he's still doing that to this day. And to do it when he's done it so close to a game has been very indifferent for him, but he must have felt that the week, the loading that they've had mentally as well, if he's giving them so much information, and certain players as well that we carrying injuries, carrying certain knocks, the session could have been a little bit lighter, so he decides to knock it right on the head for everybody, and that's what's important. And it's all about really balancing the squad. And this week now, looking at the weekend is always as well, we're looking at the team and waiting to find out, is there going to be any changes towards that game at the weekend against Liverpool?
And I think that's a big part of it, isn't it? It has to be part of the thinking, what they've done this week, the team tonight. You know, that match on Liverpool on Sunday against Liverpool here, which is a 5 Live commentary, you know, is such an important part of their season because of where the two teams are now, particularly after what happened at Anfield last night.
Well, exactly, and Liverpool go into that game against Manchester City on the back of that win over Real Madrid. Manchester City will be hoping to get the win against Dortmund this evening. John Murray and Michael Brown will bring us commentary of that one later. It's an 8 o'clock kickoff, of course, in the Champions League. Meanwhile, Newcastle are looking for a third Champions League win in a row. Athletic Bilbao are the visitors tonight. Ailey Barber is at St James's Park for us, and Ailey, they were disappointed losing 3-1 to West Ham. Eddie Howe was very critical of the performance, saying they weren't anywhere near the level that he expects of them. There's an opportunity though for a real response this evening.
Good evening, Kelly. Yeah, there is, and a lot of Newcastle fans saying that was the worst performance under Howe against West Ham at the weekend. They have, though, won all 4, their last 4 here at St James's Park in front of what will again tonight be a very raucous home support, and they've reserved their best stuff this season for the Champions League. They're looking to make it 3 wins on the bounce in European competition for the first time in 18 years and have scored 7 unanswered goals in their last 2. Athletic Bilbao, who they welcome to St James's Park tonight, have injury problems galore. The Williams brothers amongst 8 first-team players who haven't travelled, although Eddie Howe does have some problems himself. Illness has affected some of his squad. Bruno Guimaraes, very much a doubt for tonight, so it'll be interesting to see how Newcastle line up. But like you say, the Newcastle fans hoping for a big response tonight to what was a really disappointing weekend result against West Ham.
Ailey, thank you very much. Good to talk to you. Ailey Barber will be bringing us updates of that game between Newcastle United and Athletic Club throughout the evening. Australia have named their squad for the first Ashes test in Perth. They've named just one player under the age of 30. Let's bring in former Australia wicketkeeper Ryan Campbell. Ryan, that's been the big talking point about this squad selection. It's a team of geriatrics. Is that painting a false picture, do you think?
Well, I think so. I think it's a bit harsh. At 30, 31 years of age, you're definitely probably in the prime of your careers, really. But yeah, look, it is a bit surprising when you think about, a couple of the guys like Abbott and Doggett who have come into the squad as the backup bowlers, and obviously we know that Cummins isn't going to play. They've never played a test match. So suddenly even the backups are reasonably old. Weatherall, if he plays, he's 31. So, yeah, obviously it's a bit safe in the selection, but, mate, I'd be a bit careful calling him geriatrics.
I think that probably could be playing right into Australia's hands. I mean, the other way of looking at that, Ryan, is that it's a really experienced squad as well.
Yeah, 100%. You know, they know what they produce. They know how they want to play. Obviously, there's been debate about the top three for Australia and who they're going to use, whereas England have a very settled batting lineup. We know what they're going to bring to the table. So, yeah, look, there's some questions about both camps. There's no doubt, as an Aussie, all the Aussies are going to say Australia will win because England have a bad away record in Australia. But England are going to go there with, you know, very confident. Ben Stokes, obviously, who I know very well, is, you know, keen and putting everything into it. They've taken a bowling attack that they feel is going to suit the conditions. So, look, it's going to be a fantastic Ashes series, that's for sure.
Do you think it's going to be one of the closest that we've seen in Australia?
Well, again, we can talk about that. I honestly think England have to work out a way to get through the first two matches. Perth is the most unique place in the world to play cricket. You know, it's where we like to, you know, us Perth people like to think it suits the men from the boys, so to speak, with the bounce. So the batters are going to have to combat that. If Australia go 1-0 up straight away, then they go to the Gabba. Now, the Gabba's a pink ball test, you've got to remember, and that's never been played up there before as a pink ball test. And in all honesty, I don't think that's going more than 4 days. So, you know, if England are 2-0 down after the first two, I'm not sure they'll know what's going to hit them.
Ryan, there's so much to discuss, as you say, ahead of the Ashes test, but we will have lots of time between now and then. Probably still run out of time in terms of all the subjects that we want to bring up. But thank you so much for joining us. Good to talk to you. That was former Australia wicketkeeper Ryan Campbell. Meanwhile, they're back out in Baku. Qarabağ against Chelsea. Qarabağ winning 2-1 at half-time as we head into the second half of this Champions League match with Leon Osman and Conor McNamara.
Yes, thanks very much, Kelly. Chelsea, who took the lead in the first half, but now trailing 2-1, and Enzo Maresca isn't going to give it much longer to just see how things turn out. He has made some sweeping changes here, a triple substitution at half-time. He's brought on three attacking players, really: Enzo Fernandez, Liam Delap and Alejandro Garnacho, all on a triple change for Chelsea as we get back underway. Chelsea in their change strip, all white, up against Qarabağ, all in black. Chelsea playing from left to right as we look down. A full house at the Tufik Baramov Republican Stadium in Baku. So the players who've gone off: Tyreek George, who had been playing as the centre forward, Jamie Gittins, who'd been playing on the left wing, and Andre Santos in the midfield. So presumably Enzo Fernandez will replace Andre Santos. Garnacho will play on the left where Gittins was, and Liam Delap, who has still only scored the one goal in Chelsea colours, and that was at the Club World Cup. He will lead the line in attack. Leon Osman.
Yeah, like for like changes positionally. I don't think we'd seen enough of George in the first half. He was quite quiet. Delap will go right up front and try and be a handful and start creating opportunities and chances.
Estevao has now got a problem. First touch of the ball in the second half for him, and he's gone down and he stayed down. And the referee is brandishing another yellow card here as a real tussle breaks out inside the centre circle. There's 3 or 4 Chelsea players surrounding the referee, so we'll confirm exactly who has been shown the yellow card. I can tell you it's Reece James, actually. Definitely Reece James who's been booked. And the good news for Chelsea is that Estevao, who had been down for about 20 seconds there, he is back up on his feet. But Kevin McDonough, who's out, and he's right in the face of Reece James. They're still arguing about it. It just shows Qarabağ know that they've got a lead to defend here, and they're going to dig in to hold on to it.
Yeah, Chelsea have shown a level of frustration that's probably unjustified here. I mean, Estevao tried to cut inside Medina down the side of the penalty area. He tried to cut inside centre half, went out there, and Estevao just sort of crumpled, slipped a little bit, and crumbled. So Medina just picked the ball up, turned and started running forward with it. And Chelsea players seemed to just expect him to kick the ball out. Nobody worked hard enough to stop him, so he just kept on going. And then Chelsea started going mad that he didn't kick the ball out. When, you know, we know within the Premier League that, you know, you don't have to kick the ball out. Maybe in European competition it's expected a bit more, but Chelsea just didn't chase him back until he got over the halfway line, and then Reece James took exception to it and brought him down for the yellow card. Then both sets of players all came together showing frustration, where Chelsea should never have let him run that far. You have to deal with the player and the ball until the referee blows the whistle, and they didn't. And in the fallout of that, as the discussions and the arguments continued, Mateus Silva, the Brazilian right back for Qarabağ, he's been shown a yellow card too. But we saw the replay there of the Reece James tag. I mean, that is absolutely taking a card. He could have no complaints about the yellow card there. But
As you say, Leon, it almost feels like Chelsea looked a bit rattled in that moment, and presumably Enzo Maresca's fired them up in the dressing room to come out baring their teeth there in the second half, but they've got to control their anger. They've got a 2-1 deficit to try and turn around here. Chelsea have got to think smart on their feet as Adai takes on Reece James here on the left wing. Enzo Fernandez comes out to try and help him. Adai, who's short in stature but tricky and fast, and he plays a crossfield ball, well worked, out to Mateus Silva on the right hand side. Garnacho gets back goal side. The pass is towards the edge of the penalty area. Camilo Duran, who's had a good game so far, he goes out towards the sideline on the right hand side, brings Gerald Hato out with him. Qarabağ hold on to possession. They're still inside the final third. This is 5 Live at BBC Sounds in the Champions League phase. Qarabağ 2, Chelsea 1. Qarabağ hold on to it and go all the way back to the Polish goalkeeper Kokalski, wearing bright pink, away to our right hand side. Here is Kafarjuliev. Oh, he loves to sprint forward, and he's absolutely left Estevao in his wake here. Now, can he deliver the cross? Lashes it in. Good delivery towards the far post. It's controlled there by Duran. He takes it to the byline, swings back in across again, but Reece James is where he needs to be, and Chelsea are able to ham it clear. But tell you what, Qarabağ have started this second half well.
Full of confidence, full of belief, not only in the team but in themselves individually. As you say, Juliev then just picked the ball up in the left-back position and drove at full speed down that side of the pitch and left Estevao behind him. James didn't want to engage him. He got all the way, probably 10 yards from the byline before he decided to whip the cross in, and nearly created something from that, Qarabağ. But there's just a level of confidence now that there wasn't there in the first half an hour when Chelsea were in control. They're taking the ball even under pressure. They're playing little 1-2s in small areas of the field, and Chelsea are going to have to start getting really close and start actually competing.
Chelsea's so experienced in Europe. This is their 27th time in the last 29 seasons playing in Europe, and yet in the Champions League it's only the 3rd time ever that Chelsea took the lead in a match before half-time and then went into the break behind. It happened against Napoli back in 2012. It happened against Zenit St. Petersburg 2021. It has happened tonight in Baku when Estevao's early goal cancelled out by Andrade and a penalty from Marko Jankovic. And now, with Andre Santos having been taken off, but he was on the yellow. Reece James is on the yellow. He's got to be careful. For both right backs for the two teams, Silva and James, both on bookings, and they've got to mind their behaviour now through to the end of this game. Here comes João Pedro looking for a bit of space for Chelsea down the right-hand side. Doubling up at him though. Qarabağ are able to force Chelsea back, and Reece James from midway inside the opponent's half goes back to Tosin, who's under pressure. What's Tosin done here? He's given the ball away to Camilo Duran inside the penalty area, tries to shoot. Tosin did well to get back goal side, but he created that problem for himself, Tosin, and Chelsea just about breathe again. Here comes Adai. He's full of tricks just outside the penalty area, manages to skip away from Moises Caicedo, plays the ball to Zubir, the captain on the left hand side. He steps into the penalty area for Qarabağ, trying to get it onto his left boot, slings it in low across the edge of the 6-yard box, and Tosin puts it out for a corner for an under pressure Chelsea defence. 51 minutes played on 5 Live in Baku. Qarabağ 2, Chelsea 1.
Getting caught in possession on your own halfway line is catching at the back for Chelsea. Tosin there just following up what his centre-half partner's been doing all first half. Chelsea just starting to get comfortable again, and giving the ball away, giving Qarabağ the momentum again.
Corner was taken quickly. Chelsea recaptured possession, but then they couldn't fully clear, and then Medina tries to play it back into the centre again, but there's no one at the back post, and actually Mateus Silva's been able to run up from right back, and he's kept that in play. Crossing position on the right hand side for Qarabağ. Chelsea are having to work really hard here, and you can just visibly see Qarabağ growing in confidence all the time, looking for their 3rd win of this league phase, looking to make it 9 points out of a possible 12. What a story that would be for Qarabağ of Azerbaijan, playing amongst the elite, as Liam Delap does well here to win possession for Chelsea. He's played a good pass to Garnacho, and 2 of the substitutes combining. Weak pass by Garnacho. He's fortunate, it comes back to him. Better shot with his left foot, and he scores! Alejandro Garnacho, with Chelsea's first proper attempt of the second half, has tucked it into the bottom corner, and Chelsea get it back to 2-2. It's Garnacho's 2nd goal for Chelsea.
Oh, it's a brilliant finish. He got fortunate that the ball came back his way. I mean, it started with a brilliant bit of defending from Delap on the halfway line, just completely outstrength Jankovic in winning the ball, turning round, and suddenly Chelsea had Garnacho and Estevao in really advanced position. He played a lovely positive pass out to the left-hand side. Garnacho took a touch and looked to play Estevao in. He looked for a difficult pass with the outside of his right foot, completely messed it up. So fortunate it fell back into his path. And once it did, he then became positive, he then became assertive, he knew exactly what he wanted to do, dropped the shoulder, hit it with his left foot, got the equaliser.
So Alejandro Garnacho, who only ever scored one Champions League goal for Manchester United, that came this month 2 years ago against Galatasaray, and having scored his first Chelsea goal in the home defeat against Sunderland a week and a half ago, you have to say he took that really, really well.
Yeah, when it came back, he took it brilliantly. It was as if he thought, well, I'm fortunate to get the ball back here, so now I'm not going to mess this up. And he dropped his shoulder, went on his left foot, trusted it, hit it hard, hits it low. Keeper had no chance. Just shows Chelsea have got the quality to unlock this Qarabağ defence whenever they want to. They've just been too sloppy and too lackadaisical at times when they're in possession of the ball. When they're not, they can create opportunities.
That goal, the Chelsea equaliser now for 2-2, that came against the run of play. Qarabağ, who'd been playing the best stuff in the opening 7-8 minutes of this second half. But Enzo Maresca will be very pleased that his team have now got this back to 2-2. The way the pendulum has swung in the game, from Chelsea being 1-0 up to Qarabağ being 2-1 up, now back to 2-2. So plenty of excitement tonight, and there could be more here. Liam Delap into the penalty area for Chelsea. Medina, the defender, has slipped. Delap to Enzo Fernandez, and the shot is blocked and saved. And out it goes for a corner. Corner to Chelsea. Exciting game here. Newcastle against Athletic Bilbao coming up at 8 o'clock. Ailey Barber's got the team news. Ailey.
Just two changes for Newcastle from the defeat to West Ham, both on the right-hand side. Trippier starts in place of Kraft, while ahead of him it will be Harvey Barnes. He replaces Murphy. Voltemada then starts again, as does Guimaraes, who's been struggling with illness. Injury problems for the visitors. No recognised striker. Top scorer Gurzetta unavailable. Unai Gomez leads the line. No Williams brothers either. So of the starting four forward players tonight, only winger Robert Navarro has scored this season.
Thanks very much, Ailey. That's coming up at 8 o'clock. 10 minutes played in the second half in Baku. Qarabağ 2, Chelsea 2. And the Chelsea corner here has not come to anything. Qarabağ should be able to clear it away in their right full-back position. This is Bigalio laying it back to Marko Jankovic. Qarabağ all in black, slowly making their way from the edge of their own penalty area up towards the centre circle. Played by Jankovic over to the right-hand side to Mateus Silva, who has started all of Qarabağ's Champions League games so far this campaign, the Brazilian. Played cambly back by Mustafadze to the goalkeeper Kokalski, and his clearance right-footed straight down the middle of the pitch is looking for Duran, who's been quite a good target man this evening. He's usually a winger, but he's playing through the middle and he's holding it up well. He gets onto a 1-2 here from Zubir, and then a dramatic fall to the ground inside the penalty area, and that's going to be a free kick for Chelsea. So 2-2 in Baku. Qarabağ 2, Chelsea 2. At 8 o'clock from the Etihad, our focus on 5 Live and BBC Sounds is going to be on the Etihad Stadium. Manchester City hosting Erling Haaland's old club Borussia Dortmund. John Murray will have commentary of that one, and he's got the teams now. John.
And Erling Haaland will be the Manchester City captain against his former club, and it's a team with 3 changes from Sunday. Only substitutes tonight are Ruben Dias, Bernardo Silva and Shirky. Rodri is not involved at all, not a substitute. So the 3 to come into the Manchester City team are Stones, Reinders and Savinho. Borussia Dortmund make 5 changes from Friday night. They win at Augsburg. Their captain Schlotterbeck returns, as does the experienced Sabitzer into the midfield. Felix Metscher is going to start against his old club, and Jude Bellingham, I beg your pardon, Job Bellingham, not Jude, is among the substitutes for Dortmund tonight.
Thanks very much, John. Correspondent John Murray alongside Michael Brown later on for Manchester City against Borussia Dortmund from the Etihad Stadium. While we're here from John there, a chance for Chelsea, but Liam Delap was offside and he wasn't able to score anyway. Leon Osman.
No, but it's great to see those two linking up really well. Talking about João Pedro dropping into really good pockets of play. He can play right up front, but he can also play on the half turn, and numerous occasions they played the ball into him in difficult positions, and yet just easily takes the ball across his body onto his back foot, gets turned, and then it's a different picture. And when he's done that, Liam Delap looks like he can get it every time. Decent ball into him, just straight a fraction offside, but potential there.
Foul here by Moises Caicedo on Kevin Medina, and that is going to be a free kick to Qarabağ on the edge of their own penalty area. Austrian referee Sebastian Giesamer, he's had a busy night on what is his first ever appearance in the Champions League proper. Caicedo was leaning in, sort of leading with his arm as well into the upper chest of the Colombian. As Kukalski, the goalkeeper, clears it away down the field. Tosin wins the header for Chelsea. Reece James gets it down on the deck. And midway inside his own half, Caicedo rolls it back to Robert Sanchez, who's already been beaten twice tonight. As he plays an accurate distribution out to the left wing to Cucurella. Chelsea holding on to it. Back into Hato. Back to where it all began with Tosin in a more central location. And the clock ticking on. We're approaching the hour mark of this early kick-off of the Champions League tonight. Chelsea, who host Wolves in the Premier League on Saturday. And then after the international break, they will have Burnley away in the Premier League, followed by the next Champions League match, which is a very tasty one, Barcelona at Stamford Bridge. Good work by João Pedro here to get the ball away from Jankovic. He's into the penalty area, João Pedro. He tried to set it up for Liam Delap. He might have shot himself. That was a very intricate pass to try and thread it through to Delap, but it didn't make it. And Qarabağ were relieved to clear the ball away. Garnacho goes in, but he's not strong enough for a 50-50 challenge. Qarabağ regain possession inside their own half. Leon.
Yeah, it's as if he's got his creative head on tonight. He's getting in again. Brilliant bit of play, brilliant turn, lovely in the way he took the ball, got inside the penalty area, and he was looking to thread the finest pass through to Delap, rather than when he was, 16 yards out, taking the shot on himself, as a striker would do.
Moises Caicedo does well, had to adapt, had to play the ball pretty much lying on the ground there, but he got away with it. It's worked out to Estevao down the right-hand side, takes on Medina into the penalty area. Good work again for the Colombian. Have to say, been really impressed with him. He's been asked all sorts of questions, be it physical shoulder barges or flat-out sprints or aerial battles, and Kevin Medina's done really well with all of them.
Yeah, I mean, I think in those situations, Estevao does beat him for skill and he beats him for trickery, but you know, the strength and pace of Medina, just being able just to get that arm across, use his strength, use his experience in those positions. It's been a good battle between the two. They've not directly been up against each other, but you know, they've had so many incidents where they've had to go at each other, and they both have come out on top at times.
It's a 2-2. Both teams who've held the lead at various stages in this game. We've reached the hour mark, and Qarabağ are about to make another double substitution. 2 players stripped and ready to come on. Chelsea, who had a 1-0 lead, then Qarabağ led 2-1. Currently 2-2 after Alejandro Garnacho's goal having come on as a sub at half-time, and Garnacho in possession at the moment, wide on the left-hand side for Chelsea. Chelsea playing left to right as we look down, all white. Cucurella gives the ball away in midfield, 2 defenders right around him, and then as he tries to get it back, the Spaniard, he commits a foul on Marko Jankovic. That is a free kick to Qarabağ, and they will take advantage of this break in play to make their change. So Leandro Andrade, who scored the first goal for Qarabağ tonight, he is going to go off. Neriman Akunzadze is going to come on, a Azerbaijani international. 2 goals in the qualifiers to get into this Champions League group phase for Qarabağ. So fresh legs into the attack there. And the other player coming on is a fullback or a wing-back, Torel Bayramov. He's come on as a substitute now in all 4 games for Qarabağ in this Champions League phase. And perhaps interesting, he's coming on for Camilo Duran, who was probably the most threatening of the attackers for Qarabağ, and maybe a slight change in formation there with attack-minded Duran being replaced by Bayramov.
Yeah, I think I'm surprised with both of those substitutions. I think that, as you say, Duran has been a real handful for those Chelsea defenders to deal with. And Andrade has scored the goal. He's shown he's capable of scoring goals for this team. He's been relatively creative as well. We would have expected those to stay on a bit longer.
Yeah, Bayramov has started out on the right wing, and Akunzadze has taken the central striking location for now. Zubir is going to play in behind him, what looks like a number 10, with Adai on the left-hand side, the number 11. Qarabağ will still feel they can come and get another goal here. They've got a strong track record of coming from behind in games to win them. Estevao here on the halfway line for Chelsea, tries a nutmeg that doesn't work, then he battles to try and hold on to it. I mean, you have to admire Estevao. He looked hand down like he'd lost possession there, but he's got that street fighter instinct, and he was able to win possession back again. And then Mustafadze is able to make an interception on the edge of his own penalty area, and Qarabağ regained possession. Qarabağ 2, Chelsea 2. 5 Live and BBC Sounds from the BBC, and reminder that you can watch the highlights on Match of the Day tonight with Gabby Logan 10:40 on BBC One. This is Emmanuel Adai, who came on as a substitute in the first half. He's 5 yards or so inside his own territory, and he rolls it back to Medina, but back behind him. And Mustafadze now will pick it up on the right-hand side. 8 Premier League commentaries to come on 5 Live and BBC Sounds over the weekend. On Saturday at 3, we'll bring you West Ham against Burnley on 5 Live. You can have the option of listening to Everton against Fulham on Sports Extra. And at 5:30 on Saturday, it's Sunderland against Arsenal. Granit Xhaka against his old team. Commentary 5:30 Saturday on 5 Live. Loads of Premier League action on Sunday as well. Nottingham Forest Leeds is at 2 on 5 Live. There's 3 other games on BBC Sounds, and it all builds up to the big game of the weekend, Manchester City against Liverpool. You can listen to full uninterrupted commentary of that here on 5 Live. For the moment though, in the Champions League, Qarabağ 2, Chelsea 2. Zubir plays it forward. A shot from distance. Did Sanchez get his fingertips to that? I don't think he touched it. It was a shot from Akunadzadze. And the goalkeeper at full stretch, but it's a goal kick.
Oh, that was close. I mean, he hit it from probably 30 yards out, I'd say, when it sort of fell to him. Certainly no less than 25. It was like a snapshot with his left foot. Caught it well enough. It looked like the goalkeeper was scrambling, but just seeing the replays back, and Sanchez just pulls his arm away from it. I think he knew his distances, knew his angles there, and let that one sail past the post.
Baku, which holds such happy memories for Chelsea. I remember commentating for 5 Live in the All-English Europa League final in Baku in 2019 when Chelsea beat Arsenal. And on their last visit here to play Qarabağ in this city, Chelsea won by 4-0 away. They won 10-0 on aggregate. That, of course, was a very different Qarabağ back then 8 years ago. And their modern team is showing that they have what it takes to compete with the big boys in the Champions League. 2-2 for the moment, still 25 minutes to plus the stoppages to go. Chelsea in their change kit tonight, all white. They've got the proud golden emblem on their chest, signifying that they are Club World Cup winners as well, of course. And having won the Europa Conference League last season, Enzo Maresca will certainly hope to go through to the knockout stages of the Champions League for now. Qarabağ, who when they were in front tonight had moved up in the live table to 7th position with that Chelsea equaliser from Garnacho. Chelsea now in 10th and Qarabağ back to 12th place as we reach the midway point of this league phase. Estevao here rolls the ball back to Reece James, 10 yards inside his own half. No pressure on him now. There isn't as much of a press from Qarabağ at the moment since they've made those substitutions. Tosun rolls the ball in front of Gerald Hatto on the left-hand side. Hatto gives it back into Tosun once again. Tosun, who has now started 3 of Chelsea's Champions League games this season. Liam Delap has a touch here, gives it to Estevao on the right wing. Back into Reece James, slightly more central, midway through the Qarabağ half. Lovely layoff by João Pedro. Enzo Fernandez tries to bring it forward, but he can't pick out a pass. Maybe a chance of a counter-attack for Qarabağ, but poor choice of pass from Jankovic, and Tosun is able to intercept for Chelsea. That said, ball is recovered by Kofar-Juliev, and he plays a decent pass down the left wing. A slip at an unopportune moment for Adai allows Reece James to nip in, and Chelsea regain clean possession once again. Here's the Argentinian, Enzo Fernandez, gives it to Reece James. Even though he was in a tight corner, Reece James is able to keep it moving. Chelsea bring it up towards the halfway line with Caicedo. Good challenge sliding in on him from Emmanuel Adai, and this remains a very competitive game here with just over a quarter of the match remaining.
Yeah, I think we'll see that for the next 10 or 15 minutes. So Chelsea are on the halfway line, moving the ball, trying to show good patience, trying to wait for the opportunity to arise to play it, and it's a good, really good pass forward. Reece James in particular has been looking to play in Delap or João Pedro. But the important thing is when Chelsea lose the ball, how quickly they win it back, how quickly they can get another attack started up. Because in the first half, when they were under a lot of pressure, Qarabağ were picking the ball up and really pushing Chelsea back, not allowing them to sustain attacks.
Garnacho's given away possession there. Garnacho, whose goal for Chelsea made this 2-2. He's become the first player aged 21 or under to score in the Champions League for 2 different English clubs tonight, Alejandro Garnacho, having previously scored in this competition for Manchester United. Here come the home side Qarabağ on the attack. Zubir, the Frenchman who keeps it always neat and tidy. His choice of passing is very educated tonight. Zubir, been good to watch him. A very experienced player. This is his 330th appearance for Qarabağ, as Mustafadze will turn and roll it back to the goalkeeper Kokalski, and then his right-footed clearance above the halfway line is met by a firm forward from Tosun, but all Tosun could do is give it straight back to Mustafadze. Qarabağ lump it forward. Caicedo was able to get a touch and rolls it back to Robert Sanchez once again. Chelsea, who've won 14 of their last 16 European games because of their successful time in the Conference League last season. They've had a few setbacks tonight. The early injury to Lavia was destabilising. Their 1-goal lead initially became a 2-1 deficit. But at the moment, 2-2, and this game could still go either way. Good pass, Estevao into Enzo Fernandez. Crossing position on the right-hand side, just outside the corner angle of the area on the right as Chelsea come forward. He tries an ambitious crossfield ball looking for Garnacho, and that's easy pickings for Mateo Silva to intercept. And this is the sort of counter-attacking opportunity that Qarabağ really do like. He's got Zubir available to his right-hand side. Played to Zubir, returns it for Mateo Silva. He wasn't expecting that, and well shielded by Caicedo as he allows the ball run out of play. And it's a goal kick to Chelsea. 68 minutes on the clock. Qarabağ 2, Chelsea 2.
Yeah, unnecessary and ambitious really, with that left foot crossfield pass on the diagonal from Enzo Fernandez. Would have been better just keeping possession of the ball. What that allowed was exactly what I just said. They can't allow a big counter-attack up the other end. Chelsea forced all the way back.
Here goes Liam Delap. Good surge into the penalty area, and he shoots across the face of goal and wide. It's not a million miles away, but it's a good yard or so off target. Liam Delap, who'd love to make an impact and get his first ever Champions League goal. He's yet to score in the Premier League for Chelsea. Did well to get into the position there, but it needed the accuracy.
Yeah, it was a good run initially. He's made that run 3 or 4 times, just in between Medina on that left centre-half and the left-back, Kafajuliev. That's not easy to say.
Easy for you to say,
Kafajuliev into that position of the pitch. And as the game's gone on, Medina's just getting tired. He's just pulling his calves up, pulling his hamstrings. He's starting to feel a bit cramped. I think they'll get a bit of joy there.
Yeah, he's put in a lot of work this evening, the Colombian, but he's looking tired at the moment, and maybe something that Chelsea can take advantage of. Reece James does well, tries to deliver it towards Delap from the right-hand side, cut out by Medina, who's able to clear the ball away, but not very far. Straight to Tosun, who's midway inside the Qarabağ half. Chelsea hoping that they've got the stamina here to finish strongly. It's been a close, entertaining game, 2-2 for the moment. Chelsea hoping that they will have the energy to go and grab a winner here. There's going to be a little hold up because the aforementioned Kafajuliev is down, and I think he's just got a bit of cramp. So they'll try and stretch that out. And a chance to look ahead to what's coming up later on this evening on 5 Live. We'll bring you full coverage of Manchester City against Borussia Dortmund. Erling Haaland in the team, starting and named as captain against his former employers. Correspondent John Murray will be alongside Michael Brown for that one. And Voltematta's back in the Newcastle team tonight. Newcastle against Athletic Club. It's an 8 o'clock kickoff as well at St James's Park, and Eddie Barber will be keeping us up to date with that. But if you're just joining our coverage on 5 Live, entertaining game in Baku. Chelsea, who took the lead early through Estevao. They held that lead for 13 minutes. Andrade, who's been a goal machine for Qarabağ in Europe this season, made it 1-1. Then Qarabağ soon after that were to take the lead. A penalty, Marko Jankovic scoring after a handball from Joel Hato. 2-1 to Qarabağ at half-time, but then early stages of the second half, Alejandro Garnacho, who'd been sprung from the bench as a replacement, really neat finish from him to make it 2-2. Now, another Chelsea change to tell you about, another attacking change. Buonanotte has come on in place of João Pedro, who feels like we haven't mentioned his name quite as often as many of the other Chelsea players tonight, Leon.
No, maybe not. I think he's played a little bit deeper than we're used to seeing him play, but I think as I've mentioned, he's picked up some great pockets of space, and he's turned really well and he's looked forward. I don't know if his passing has been what they need in those moments. I think sometimes he's healed the pass and sometimes he's been a bit sloppy with the pass, but there's no doubt his positional sense in there has been really good. But they're bringing on Buonanotte now, and they'll hope that he's going to get in the same positions, but the execution of his pass will be a little bit better.
It's an interesting one for Kunde Buonanotte. I mean, we know all about him from Brighton. This is his 3rd appearance in the Champions League for Chelsea, but he's only had 1 appearance in the Premier League so far. Made his debut against Brentford in September, subbed off at half-time, and Enzo Maresco hasn't used him in the top flight since then. Did score for Chelsea in the League Cup in September against Lincoln, but he's on now. So it's Delap, Garnacho, Buonanotte and Estevao. It's a young attack. You've got 18-year-old Estevao, 20-year-old Buonanotte, 21-year-old Garnacho and 22-year-old Delap. Here is Estevao on the attack down the right-hand side. Jankovic trying to cover left-back because Kafajuliev has been injured. Estevao tries to shoot, too many bodies in the way. He gave that some welly, I'll tell you. Put the laces through at Estevao, but it ricochets off a defender, and Qarabağ are able to clear the ball away. 72 minutes on the clock, 2-2, 5 Live on BBC Sounds. as Hato stretches to get a touch of the ball in the midfield. Here is Reece James. Yellow boots for him tonight. Plays it into Enzo Fernandez, also with yellow boots. Tries to accelerate from an enthusiastic Akunzadze. Enzo Fernandez holds onto possession, but Chelsea have to retreat. Back to Reece James again. He'll give it over to Jarrell Hato on the left-hand side, and then back to the halfway line for Tosin. And this is where Chelsea need concentration now. These are an important 20 minutes. By the time the stoppages are added on, could be as much as 25 minutes to go here. And Chelsea have the opportunity to pick up 3 points away from home. They also, though, could be leaving here with nothing in a game with 4 goals already. Qarabağ, by the way, are preparing to make another double substitution.
Yeah, they are, because they're looking tired. There's a number of their players now that look like their race is run. They're looking stretched. They're looking... Oh, they've not got much energy left. A lot of cramp out there, and Chelsea now need to realise that. Keep the tempo, keep them running, keep them moving. Make sure you take every last bit of energy out of them, and mistakes will come.
Reece James has been really good over the last few minutes. Tries to slip a ball through to Estevao there. That was intercepted. Chance for Adai to come away with possession, but he is challenged by Cucurella, and the referee is pointing to his arm. So that must have somehow been a handball by Cucurella. And the referee blows his whistle to halt things. Free kick to Qarabağ, and while they've got this break in play, they will have the opportunity to make their substitutions. So it looks like Abdullah Zubir is going to be taken off. So they pretty much changed the entire attack that started the game tonight. And then we told you that Kafar Juliev has been struggling, the left back, so he's going to be replaced too. So 2 changes here as Qarabağ hope for a second wind here. The captain's armband has been passed from Zubir over to Behul Mustafadze, the central defender. The players are coming on. I do love this guy's name, Danny Bolt. I mean, it just, what a name. That is the name of a cartoon footballer. Danny Bolt comes on, and so too, perhaps less animated, Oleski Kashchuk, who is a Ukrainian international. So Kashchuk comes on, he's a midfielder, and Danny Bolt, who's a defender. Bolt will replace Kafar Guriev at left back. Chelsea have possession in the midfield. No way forward, though, on that occasion, although the loose ball has fallen to Enzo Fernandez here, and he will give it to the right wing to Estevao. Estevao attacking the penalty area now, hangs it across. Garnacho was waiting for it to come at the back post, doesn't reach him. Jankovic tries to head it out of the penalty area, certainly not fully cleared for Qarabağ, and they're relieved to hear the whistle. There's a foul on Nariman Akuzadze, and that is a free kick to Qarabağ on the edge of their own penalty area. Quarter of an hour of normal time to go, Leon. 2-2.
Yeah, they can't afford to give these silly free kicks away. I think, as I say, Qarabağ are looking stretched, they're looking tired, they're looking for free kicks, they're looking for opportunities for the referee to give them a chance to get out and get up the pitch. So Chelsea just sometimes need to, yes, you want to be aggressive and you want to go win the ball, but sometimes, use your experience, you just take a step backwards and sometimes the ball will be presented to you.
2-2. Qarabağ, who got a late winner against Benfica earlier on in this group phase, and it was Oleski Kashchuk, the Ukrainian who's just come on, who scored that late winning goal. They'll hope they've got a few things up their sleeves. It was an 84th minute winner against Copenhagen on the opening night. Qarabağ also scored against Benfica, was 84 minutes. Against Copenhagen, it was 83rd minute. We're currently in the 75th minute of this game, and the home support in Baku very much hoping that their team could still have a late winning goal in them here. Chelsea, who conceded that late stoppage time winner at home against Sunderland a week and a half ago. Chelsea, who've already conceded 4 Premier League goals after the 90-minute mark this season, so there's been a track record of late goals conceded by Enzo Maresca's team. They need to dig in for the closing stages here. Moses Caicedo brings the ball out from the back, ushering with his arm to signal teammates he wants them to push up a little bit. Here's Estevao making the pitch wide, up against the chalk with a touch on the right-hand side. Number 41 on his back, flicks it with the outside of his left boot back to Reece James. Buenanoche gets a touch in the midfield. Back to Moses Caicedo again. Neat, short, triangular passing from Chelsea at the moment. Back to Estevao, who's level with the edge of the penalty area that they attacked on the right-hand side. Takes on the defender and goes around him. Estevao tries to run into the 6-yard box, wanted to pull it back for Enzo Fernandez, and in the end it ricochets out, I think, for a corner. Corner to Chelsea on the right-hand side. That was almost dazzling from Estevao.
Oh, it was dazzling. It had everything except the correct decision at the very end. He beat 2 or 3 players. He got to the byline, opportunity, and just didn't pick the right person out.
Garnacho for the quickly taken corner, tries a snapshot, and poor old Garnacho. It's one of those where it's a shot, that's so bad it goes out for a throw.
Didn't just go out for a throw in, it went for a throw in on 18 yards from the corner flag. That was how bad that was. As good as his finish was for his goal,
Yes.
that's as bad as that
was
opportunity he tried to take there was.
The inverse proportion of accuracy there from the shot from the left boot of Garnacho that hit the back of the net to the one that went out for a throw-in just there. 13 minutes remain of normal time on the big stadium clock in Baku. Qarabağ 2, Chelsea 2. Qarabağ, who could do with a spell of pressure inside the Chelsea half. They may get the chance here. Bayramov comes forward, gives it up to Adai, up against Reece James. Reece James has done well to hold him up, waits for the support to arrive, which of course it does do from who else but Moises Caicedo. And then a lovely dummy sold for himself from Estevão, jumped over the ball, was able to skip away, and he set Chelsea in motion here. Enzo Fernandez bearing down on the penalty area, shoots right-footed just over the top. That was close, you know. He thundered that shot in, and any tip at all, it would have gone into the net.
Yeah, trusted himself to try and take the shot on, didn't he? It was an outstanding play to get the opportunity there from Estevão, not only in stepping over the ball, defender running past it, and he's spanning over his left shoulder, but he got kicked and he didn't want to go down. He stayed up, cut inside, little 1-2 flick into Enzo Fernandez, who did want to play in Delap for a run, but it just closed over in that moment, and because of that he drove forward, took the shot on himself from the angle outside the penalty area and just whistled over the crossbar.
Now, a reminder, there's only 2 games on at the moment, 2 early kickoffs in the Champions League from 8 o'clock, lots of games on, and a really good way to watch it is with the Champions League final score graphics on the BBC Red button. You can listen to John Murray and Michael Brown's commentary of Manchester City against Borussia Dortmund from 8. You can keep up to date with all the stats and the graphics from games elsewhere. If you want to watch the action later on, Champions League, BBC One this evening from 10:40 with Gabby Logan, and a reminder that tomorrow we'll have commentary of Celtic, Rangers and Aberdeen, all in European duty across Sports Extra and Sports Extra 2 tomorrow evening. Celtic playing early, Rangers against Rome at 7:45. Aberdeen will be in Larnaca, but you can listen to all of those games tomorrow. Qarabağ 2, Chelsea 2 for the moment. Just over 10 minutes of normal time to play, and there's an injury for Kokalski, the Polish goalkeeper for Qarabağ, and that could give us a little bit of a break in play here for a minute while they sort him out.
Yeah, it was a decent attempt at a pass from Reece James from sort of like a right centre-half position on the diagonal into the penalty area for Cucurella, who'd made the run in behind what was quite a high line from Qarabağ. It was just dropped in there, keeper came out, the two of them challenged. Keeper just about got there first, and there was a coming together between the two, and inevitably goalkeeper stayed down and got a free kick.
So Chelsea were 1-0 up here, play back underway by the way. Qarabağ with 2-1 up, 2-2 it sits at the moment, 10 minutes to play. And Bayramov, who's been sharp since coming on, gives it to another impressive substitute, Adai. Back to Bayramov, low cross straight to the gloves of Robert Sanchez, the Chelsea goalkeeper. And that cross from the left-hand side, and predominantly it's down the left that Qarabağ have attacked in this game tonight.
Yeah, too easy. Reece James not really working that hard to try and stop that cross on the situation. You cannot at any level allow teams to get easy ball into your penalty area. At some point they'll put the ball where they need to and get the effort on goal that they required, and Reece James didn't really try and stop that cross, and they were delighted when it went into the hands of Sanchez.
It's approaching 11:30 at night, local time in Azerbaijan, as Chelsea still searching a winning goal in this game, very much doing their best to ensure they don't concede a late winner down the other end. Qarabağ, who've already impressed us so much, and I think how they've come from behind tonight has been really impressive too. Here is Enzo Fernandez, low cross in for the right-hand side. Medina blocks it out. Corner to Chelsea on the right-hand side.
Yeah, they've had a bit of joy as they take that corner kick down this right-hand side.
Chelsea get it into the penalty area. Tosun was up there, couldn't get a clean touch on the ball though. Qarabağ happy to hoof it away. Chelsea have actually scored quite a lot of goals from set pieces in the Premier League this season. Only Arsenal have scored more, but Qarabağ are doing well in those set piece situations so far tonight.
Yeah, they've took quite a number of them short, Chelsea, in trying to get the game going. Maybe one or two, maybe tempted to put them into the penalty box.
Here is Estevão. Oh, he's so tricky to get off the ball, and a shot that should have been on target. Now he's pointing to the corner flag. He felt that deflected off the defender. That's why it rose. He's trying to tuck it into the near post like he did for the goal he scored in the first half, but it sails over the cross and the officials don't believe there was a deflection, so no corner for Chelsea. We get the benefit of a replay. Difficult to tell. What do you think, Leon?
Yeah, it didn't look like on first viewing of it, and looking at it again, it's still inconclusive. It's hard to tell. But doesn't he move well with the ball, and doesn't he glide, twist and turn so effortlessly when he's got the ball? But defenders can't touch him inside the penalty area. And once he dropped his shoulder, yes, he trusted his right foot, took it on with his right foot. Should do better, should keep the ball down there.
Could be a very exciting year ahead for Estevao. He's settled in so well in the Premier League. He's now scored in each of his first 2 starts in the Champions League. He's only 18. He's already up to 9 caps for Brazil. I mean, he'll be expecting to be in that Brazilian team at the World Cup the way he's going. As Garnacho gets the ball on the edge of the penalty area, good defending by Mateus Silva. Qarabağ get it back now. Can they launch a counter-attack? It's played out to the right-hand side. Cucurella is a little bit out of position. He's trying to scamper back here. Mateus Silva drills it in. That was a chance. Akundzaze can't get it on target. Moises Caicedo, the deepest lying defender for Chelsea again.
Well, that's why he's known as one of the best out there, Caicedo. I mean, Chelsea had an opportunity. Ball falls to Garnacho. He could just flick it past the defender. He's through on goal. He doesn't. Because of that, Qarabağ are on the counter-attack. Chelsea are stretching to get back. Defenders not in the right position. Hato stranded on the halfway line. Ball whipped in from the right-hand side, in swinging into the striker. Akundzaze, who's coming in behind, but who's there, getting back into position, covering his centre-backs. Moises Caicedo, absolutely brilliant.
You can hear the crowd in the background. The locals in Baku feel that this is a big opportunity. Corner to Qarabağ. 6.5 minutes to play. Bodies hitting the deck as the ball came in, but the referee says no foul. And Robert Sanchez is able to rise high and catch that into his gloves and set in motion a counter-attack as Enzo Fernandez feeds Alejandro Garnacho. He started on the right wing. He's run across the centre of the pitch from right to left. Gives it to Cucurella. Back to Buenanoche. A lot of young, exciting attacking talent on the pitch for Chelsea at the moment. Here's the chance. Enzo Fernandez tries to cross it in, but blocked away by Mustafa Zadze. Good positioning again, but he didn't fully clear, and Chelsea still have the ball on the attack here. 84 minutes on the clock. Qarabağ 2, Chelsea 2. Enzo Fernandez crosses again, and nobody can react for Chelsea, and Mateus Silva puts it out for a corner. Corner to Chelsea on the left-hand side with 6 minutes of normal time to go.
Well, on the first occasion, Buenanoche plays a lovely ball inside the fullback to Enzo Fernandez, who has to pick a teammate out. He's got enough people in there. He's got to pick one out on the 6-yard line. The second time it comes back to him, he whips a delightful ball in from the corner of the penalty area. And on this occasion, he's done everything right. One of his teammates has got to be there to tap it in, and they're not.
Corner is taken short again from Chelsea. That's been a very deliberate tactic from them tonight. Buenanoche tries his look from distance, and it just goes wide of the target. Now he's miles out there, Buenanoche. He's got 1 League Cup goal so far since joining Chelsea, and he struck that. I mean, it's not a million miles away, but it's always bending away from that top corner.
Yeah, that's described very well, Connor. It's not far away, but from the moment he set it off with the curl it's got on it, it was never going to stay on that line. It was always curling away, and you can kind of tell from the dive the goalkeeper made, it was more for the cameras than anything else. He had no real intentions of knowing he had to go and defend that and push that around the post.
Just another delay here. Marko Jankovic is down receiving treatment, so 5 minutes of normal time to play. Enzo Maresca, who's made a lot of substitutions already, trying to keep the balance in his side. I mean, you got to say in terms of chances created that Chelsea are creating a lot here. They've had 14 attempts in total. The trouble has been only 3 of them have been on target tonight.
Yeah, that's been the difference. On only 1 occasion as the goalkeeper had to make a save, and that was from Enzo Fernandez 15 minutes into the second half. Since then they've made opportunities just like that one from Buenanoche, not hit the target. There's been a couple of moments where the ball's flashed across the face and nobody's quite got on the end of it. They've shown they should have had enough to create numerous and score numerous goals here, Chelsea, but just not quite done enough. Qarabağ will be pleased with themselves. They've defended to a man. They've showed great intensity. They've got exhausted players, have had to be replaced. There's been cramp, but as it stands, they're doing a brilliant job against Chelsea.
Well, they can have much to be proud of, Qarabağ. 2 wins, 1 defeat, and then if this does end up in a draw, I'm sure they would have taken that at the start of this league phase. And as things stand, Qarabağ will be in 12th position going into the second half of the 8-game league phase. Chelsea in 10th if this game does finish at 2-2 this evening on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Reminder that Manchester City against Borussia Dortmund is coming up in half an hour from now. Erling Haaland named as City captain against his old team. John Murray will bring us full commentary of that. We'll keep you up to date with Newcastle against Athletic Club as well from St James's Park. Barcelona in action too. Busy night of Champions League to come, and work still to do for Chelsea here in the closing minutes of this game in Baku, and maybe a chance as Bayramov comes forward, has a little look to see who's up with him. Kukure's got to be careful of the penalty area. It's pulled back for Adai. Excellent defending from Reece James. Adai was ready to pull the trigger there inside the penalty area. He thought for a moment the goal was at his mercy, but sneaking up behind him, Reece James was able to get in the way first.
Yeah, he did sneak up behind him. It looked like he was going to give a penalty away. It was really brave defending, trusted from the angle that he was going to be able to get there and just get his foot in before Adai ended up being able to have a shot. As it was coming back to him, he was running onto it, probably on the penalty spot, thinking he's going to whip this with his right foot anywhere he chose. And Reece James just sprinted. You could see the sprint and the desire to get in there and stop him getting a shot away. Great defending.
Here comes Estevao, right wing for Chelsea. If anyone can prize open a late winner, it could be he. Enzo Fernandez tries to shoot and it takes a deflection, but the deflection is off Delap, so it's off his own teammate and it's wide, and it's no corner for Chelsea. It still feels like there could be a late winner in this one, Leo.
Yeah, and considering Qarabağ are still pushing forward, I'm not sure which way it's going to go as Chelsea showed their desperation. Just seeing that defending from Reece James again, fantastic piece of defender. But at the other end, Enzo Maresca, gets the ball back to him and took a touch probably 12 yards out on the angle and just caught everybody by surprise. Just toe poked it towards the far post and it hit Delap on the shoulder as he tried to get out the way of it, and I think that was sneaking in the far post. I don't think the keeper would have stopped it.
2-2 on 5 Live from Baku. Qarabağ 2, Chelsea 2. You mentioned there about how it was a risky challenge from Reece James, and having seen the replay there, I mean, he really could have given away a penalty. Had Adai been a bit more solid, I mean, he just wilted Adai. Had he stood his ground there and forced a connection, well, then Reece James could have been in trouble. But as it was very good defending. Here's Estevao down the other end, into the penalty area again. He's strong. Challenge is bouncing off him, but he can't pick out the pass to Enzo Fernandez, and there's a big roar from the crowd as the ball is walloped away. And anywhere will do at the moment for Qarabağ. They are 60 seconds away here from finding out what's going to be added on for stoppages. We haven't had any particularly lengthy delays, but there's always a few minutes to be added on. Hato gives it out to Garnacho on the far side. 89 minutes, 20 seconds on the stadium clock. 2-2. They've both had the lead at various stages in this game. Moises Caicedo had to come on as an early sub for the injured Lavia. Gives it to Enzo Fernandez, another of the replacements. He's pass into the penalty area, was a little bit tired there, wasn't able to pick out a teammate. Qarabağ clear away. Buenanotte had hit the deck, but he's back up at his feet again. Chelsea is still in motion, and it's played out to the near touchline. Chelsea's right here, and Reece James just outside the penalty area pushes it down towards the byline to the tricky Estevao. Estevao up against Jankovic. All acceleration, deceleration, twisting, turning for the Brazilian, but he can't shake off the attention, and Qarabağ get it back, and then down goes Akundzadze, and that is relief for Qarabağ to hear the whistle. And they've got a defensive free kick as we move into 5 minutes of stoppages being added on here, with the late yellow card just shown too, and that has been shown to Moises Caicedo.
Yeah, it was for his reaction, and because Chelsea, just about give the ball away on the edge of the penalty area, and Caicedo thought he'd won it back fair and square. There was a clean tackle, the referee bought the dive that came after it, gave a free kick, and Moises Caicedo was furious, and he's right. I'm just seeing the replay. He didn't even offer a tackle. Player went to ground. It's Akundzadze, and the referee was only 5 yards away and bought it. Caicedo's reaction got him a yellow card.
Well, it's been a long journey to Azerbaijan for Chelsea. They've lost the last 3 away games in the Champions League. They were beaten at Bayern Munich in September. Back end of last season, they lost at both Dortmund and Real Madrid. There's about 2,000 Chelsea fans who've made the really long trip to support their team tonight. And as things stand, it looks like they're going to be going home with a draw. 4 minutes of stoppages to change that one way or the other. Bayramov takes his time over a throw-in on the left-hand side. I think Qarabağ at this stage would certainly take the 2-2 draw. Bayramov still holding the ball above his head. Chelsea frustrated body language as they want him to get on with it. It's thrown to Akundzadze, into Adai, returns it to Akundzadze, plays a low ball into the centre, great arrival, but the shot from Kashuk is straight at Robert Sanchez. That could have won the game for Qarabağ. He's got to score that, Leo.
It should have won the game for Qarabağ. Really good play down the left-hand side, and whipped in right in through the middle of the goal, 6 yards out, clean shot, nobody marking him really, and he somehow scuffs it straight at Sanchez, who actually seemed surprised that the ball came into his midriff. He was delighted, and Chelsea get away with one.
2-2, close finish. Chelsea play it into the penalty area. Cucurella's header almost comes down for Estevao. Here's Garnacho, and it's saved by the goalkeeper, Kokalski. Well, he just threw his body bravely at that. Impressive technique from Garnacho. It came high. It was almost a scissor kick from him. He got it on target, but the goalkeeper was able to provide the barrier, and the ball goes out for a corner kick.
Yeah, that one was more difficult as the ball fell to him on the angle. It was too high to really get his leg up to. He couldn't generate the power with his head. So he did the sidewinding bicycle kick. Angle was against him. Keeper saved it at the front post.
Two big late chances at either end in this game, but it stays 2-2. We're midway through the 5 minutes of stoppages. Corner comes in from Enzo Fernandez. Not a great delivery, and Qarabağ are able to clear it away. And this is going to stay in play for Kashchuk. It looked like it was going to go out for a throw. Kashchuk has chased after it, and he's kept the ball in play. Garnacho sprints to get back goal side. Now, this is Danny Bolt. He crosses it from the right-hand side, but Tosun, well positioned on the edge of the 6-yard box, is able to intercept for Chelsea, and it's end-to-end in stoppage time in Baku in the Champions League as Cucurella comes down the other end. Looks to see who's with him. Enzo Fernandez. Long, ambitious ball out towards Estevao. He'll do really well to control this. Wow, Estevao over his own head had to stretch out to put out his instep to kill the pace of the ball dropping from on high, but he managed to hold on to it, and then he runs into trouble, and Qarabağ are able to clear the ball out for a Chelsea throw. 2-2, Leon Osman.
Yeah, Chelsea nearly got in trouble there. As that clearance from the corner came, Garnacho acted like it had been kicked out. He just stopped running, and it was a Qarabağ player that ended up just sprinting after it, got inside the Chelsea penalty, and then everybody just sort of pent Chelsea hard. Then everyone just seemed to react to it. Very fortunate there, Chelsea, but they're still pushing.
Still pushing, still pressing. Estevao to the byline, right-hand side, plays across. Garnacho arriving again. Angle's too tight to shoot. Tried to pull it back for a teammate. Ricochets off a defender, but Cucurella is able to get a touch, and Chelsea have still got it. Chelsea all in white, playing from left to right as we look down. We're about to move into the final minute of the 5 that were added on for stoppages. Reece James drills across from the right-hand side, which whips over the 6-yard box and goes out of play for a Qarabağ goal kick.
Yeah, unlike him, I think when he gets into those positions, quite often, Reece James, you expect a good delivery. You know it's going to be in a good area, and you get people attacking certain areas of the pitch, but his first touch probably wasn't where he wanted it to be, and then his second touch with that angle he should have put it into along the 6-yard line, just completely miss it, and it goes out for what looks like it'll be the last action of the game.
Two huge chances late on in the game. Kashchuk should have scored for Qarabağ. He was the player who got the late winner against Benfica earlier on in this group phase. That should have been a deja vu moment for him, but he didn't take it. He put it straight at Sanchez, and then Garnacho, who did the best he could do from the tight angle, got his scissors kick on target, but the goalkeeper was patrolling the front post and was able to make the save. If you're just joining our coverage on 5 Live and BBC Sound, Estevao gave Chelsea the lead. Qarabağ turned it around to lead 2-1. Goals from Leandro Andrade and Jankovic, but Garnacho off the bench got an equaliser early in the second half, and 2-2 is how this game ends. An entertaining contest in Baku. Chelsea were really made to sweat there, and Qarabağ, who are far from an illustrious name of European football, but they are making people sit up and take notice now. 4 games in, they've only lost 1.
Yeah, they've done brilliantly, and they're so enthusiastic about the competition. The fans are celebrating this draw like it's a victory. This was hard earned for them today. They'll have been delighted to get something against Chelsea. Chelsea should have won the game. Chelsea, Premier League team, when you go ahead and you're as comfortable as you are in the first half, and then to give not just one mistake away defensively, but 2 huge defensive mistakes to find yourself behind. I'll be quite pleased in the way that they fought their way back into the game and the way they were pushing late on, but disappointed that ultimately mistakes cost them their victory today, and they'll move on to the next game.
Well, it really felt like there could have been a late winner at either side right until the very end there, but it finishes all square. Qarabağ 2, Chelsea 2.
Very much. Leon, as you said, Chelsea were in control for a large part of that first half, but they come in at half-time 2-1 down, get it back to 2-2 by the final whistle. And as well as Qarabağ have done, by your reckoning, Chelsea should have gone on to win this game. Were they architects of their own downfall? Did they cause their own problems?
Yes, definitely in the first half. I think you have to be, clean in these games. You have to be professional. You have to make sure that we don't give the opposition, and certainly the opposition fans in what is an intense arena and an atmosphere. You can't give them anything to get excited about. And unfortunately for Chelsea, Gerald Hatto was guilty of that on 2, maybe even 3 occasions of just losing concentration, being sloppy, not realising that you need to be quick. You need to make sure that you're doing everything at the top of your game, and it made it difficult for the rest of the team. And from that moment till half-time, they struggled. No surprise that Enzo Maresca made the 3 changes, bringing in a bit more quality and experience as they went in search of not only the equaliser but the winner. They got the equaliser quite quickly, and from that moment I thought they'd push on and do enough to win the game, but ultimately they just couldn't find that last bit of quality.
What do you think it does to their chances of finishing in the top 16? They're in 10th place at the moment. They've played their 4 games. There are teams that can overtake them in these next couple of games, including Newcastle United and Barcelona if they manage to get their 3 points. They're in 10th place at the moment, Chelsea, but having drawn a game that they will have expected to win, how will they be feeling about their chances?
Frustrated, I think. I've no doubt about Chelsea making it to the next stage. But as you mentioned, everybody wants that top 8 berth, don't they? And there's some incredible teams after it. There are some top-class European juggernauts. They're all expect to be in there. And we saw last season that I think PSG weren't even in that situation and somehow went on to win the competition. So, yes, it's not the end of the world, but it's something every manager wants. And when they look at the fact they've got Barcelona and then Atalanta in the next 2 games, home and away, they're difficult games as well. And Chelsea's away record in European competition at the moment isn't where they need it to be. So, you're relying on your home games, and with Barcelona coming up next, that's no mean feat.
And while Qarabağ have been championed by Rory Smith on pretty much every BBC platform available this season, I'm not sure he expected them to be quite as successful as they have been so far. Now you've seen them in action, Leon, over the full 90 minutes. What have you made of them?
They're energetic. I think they've got good ways of attacking. I think their fullbacks get forward very, 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 very well. I thought Duran up front for an hour caused Chelsea all sorts of problems. Having a centre forward that runs the channels and is a real goal threat, and they don't mind putting the ball into dangerous areas and really asking questions of the opposition's defence. Yes, there will be games just like today where they go for periods without seeing an awful lot of the ball, but they showed on the counter-attack today on numerous occasions that they know their way to goal. And Chelsea on some occasions got fortunate on those, and some occasions defended them really well. Caicedo in particular, one pops in my mind. So yeah, they are a big threat, and I'm never surprised with what Rory says, I've got to be honest.
Don't say that, because he'll just start predicting more and more outlandish things as we go into the latter stage of the season and into next season. Look, from Chelsea's point of view, normally if they come away with a result like that from opposition away in the Champions League, but did they maybe underestimate them? Did they maybe underestimate the task? But because of the performance that they put in, do you think it'd be wrong to kind of level that at them?
I think as you mentioned, when you don't win the game and you're making 3 subs at half-time, bringing on your more experienced and your starters really to go in search of getting some from them in the game, then you're asking questions of, did we start with a good enough team? But Enzo Maresca will say to develop his team and to help everybody move forward and to make his squad a real squad, not just 11 starters and hoping that other players come in, then he has to give them experience. He has to trust them. He has to give them opportunities. And maybe the question is, did he start too many all in one? Gittins, George, yes, Estevao, who's now becoming an incredible player, but Andres Santos as well, Lavia, who hasn't played an awful lot of football, Hatto. Maybe there was too many in the side for this task, and maybe, just putting 3 or maybe even 4 rather than 5 and 6 in would have been the difference. But those are the things you look back on afterwards and have a think about as a manager. Maybe the results suggest he probably put too many young kids in.
Leon, thank you very much. Thank you to Connor as well. Qarabağ and Chelsea with a 2-2 draw in the early Champions League commentary here on 5 Live.